What's up, y'all? Kyle Hamilton here. I want to give a quick shout out to Lucas, Connor, and Ryan in the Week 0 podcast.
Jackson rolling out, 3rd and 7 after the penalty, and it's a completion to Kuma. He's still running. Kuma breaks free against a tired defense as the Hokies deliver the dagger here in Tallahassee. Empty look for Richardson. Oh, that is danger! Oh my! Keidron Smith cuts inside, and he's gonna pick six it in the swamp. Cat scratch Beaver Smith.
DJ is picked off, intercepted again by Benjamin Morrison. Here goes Morrison down the sideline. Can he go? Yes, he can. Touchdown, pick six, Benjamin Morrison. Nix drops back underneath. Touchdown, Ducks. Wow. Chase Porter.
Am I still muted? No, I'm not. Okay. For once, I was not muted, but I still messed up. Welcome to the Week 0 podcast. I'm your host, Connor. At least Grant Wells is potentially out this week, Doherty. To my left is Ryan. I have more passing yards than Devin Brown, Fravel. To his left is Skodux, otherwise known as Lucas, who went nuts when they got that pick six to steal the game.
I'm making that, by the way, I am making that clip into a W commercial for the channel. So
good.
Congrats, Lucas.
Fantastic. We can just run that. I don't have to do my read.
Below me is Josh, our former W commercial reader. And below Lucas, the man, the myth, the legend, the runner of the No Context College Football Twitter account, Liam. Why don't you introduce yourself a bit more? Talk about what made you. How you been doing, man?
I've been doing good. That intro was pretty sick. I would have liked some action stuff there, though. I felt that it really did lack some action stuff. Maybe get Akron's turnover tire in there or something. Doing good though. Happy to join y'all this week, and looking forward to talking about college football. That's what we're here to do, right?
Yes, sir.
Yep.
Okay,
and so Liam is for anyone who doesn't know, Liam is a UCLA fan. Would you say you were a pessimistic?
Very pessimistic, extremely pessimistic. But I find other teams that I love to root for during the season. Big Ohio guy this year.
Wait, did you guys
always
win or lose against San Diego State?
They beat San Diego State. My DirecTV in Vegas, we don't actually have CBS right now, so I have that in a small box on my computer. But yeah, they won. Chip figured it out. He knows Dante Moore's actually QB1.
Okay.
You're welcome.
We're gonna
so real quick, I wanted to mention this real quick before we get into it. Our boy Liam made it on Fox for the Michigan State Central Michigan game. What was the tweet exactly? I think it was something about Tom Izzo.
Yeah, they had Tom Izzo in the booth, and he was just doing his thing. And then they had him like commentate, analyze a replay. I completely forget what the play was. It might have been a sack or something. Then I just put the clip out there and then just replied to it to try and get more engagement a few minutes later. I was like, yo, Tom Izzo should probably pursue a career in commentating after he's done with his day job or whatever. And then Fox, they're like, yo, this is a good tweet. We didn't put this up.
Yeah, awesome. And then I remember everyone in your comments on your Twitter section was just like, "You made it, man! You made it! You made it on Fox! Like you got real recognition."
Pretty sick. I actually missed it.
Yeah, I know you missed it live, didn't you?
Yeah, I was. So there were other games on at the time. UConn, NC State. Dang, I forgot one of the other games I was on. Louisville, Georgia Tech, and then there was another one. I had two TVs on watching, and I wasn't watching that one at the time. I had just turned it off to go switch because the game was kind of getting out of hand. And of course.
And then they show your tweet.
Yeah.
So how'd you get a hold of the at No Context College Football? Because I know that there's obviously everybody loves the no context pages. No Context Titans for the Tennessee Titans is one of my favorite Twitter accounts like of all time. So how were you able to get a hold of that Twitter handle because of how many people just absolutely love the no context guys?
So let's see. The account, I just want to make sure I'm correct on when it was made. August 2018. So I think maybe a little before the boom kind of start of these no context, out of context accounts or whatever. It came into fruition for me because someone else reached out to me. Was like, "Are you familiar with no context accounts?" And then kind of said a few other sentences. I was like, "I don't have a clue what you're talking about. I have zero clue what a no context page is. Blah blah blah." And then was like, you know what? I watch more college football than pretty much anyone. I now could just say, hey, I'll help you do this. Gives me an excuse to sit on the couch every day that there's a game and watch these games with us. So, that's how it happened. It was kind of early on the whole no context boom, and I got sole control of the account like 2020, 2021. And it has been booming.
That's awesome.
How many followers are you up to now?
And not a numbers guy, but 199 and a half. So like 500-ish away from 200K.
Yeah.
Nice.
All right. All right, let's get this going. First things first. We got some games to talk about, boys. Obviously, the first thing we're going to talk about, because it was the biggest game of the week, is Texas back?
Oh, no.
Who's going to cue it?
Who's going to cue it? All right. I don't know.
No, I got you.
We're back.
Of course, he was not right at the time.
Hey, he was only a few years off, man. He was only a few years off.
Game? Was that?
Yeah, that was the Sugar Bowl.
Yeah.
What year was that, though? What was that, 2018 or
2019 or 2018, one of the two.
Right. 2019.
So starting with Josh, is Texas back?
Texas is back, baby. That's right. I really think they are. I think they are a legitimate playoff team. Is this an overreaction? Absolutely, it is. We really don't have a good snapshot of what Alabama is going to be this year outside of that Texas game. So, obviously I'm going to give props to the Longhorns there. Rolled into Tuscaloosa and got the dub.
All right, Connor, is Texas back?
Yes, but I'd still like to see them win the Big 12. I think they still need. That's one thing they still actually haven't done in a few years. I don't even know the last time they actually won the conference. So that's probably the next major thing I want to see them. We'll get a signature win like they did against Notre Dame back when this whole Texas is back folks meme kind of blew up and started, and then they didn't do really anything. What was that, 2016? They didn't really do anything after that. They went that was like a lost season for Texas. So it's still they're there. They seem to have the pieces now, and and now we get to enjoy Texas playing Alabama potentially as maybe the beginnings of a rivalry with them playing each other, maybe as like a protected rivalry game going forward when Texas joins the SEC next year.
All right. Liam, how do you feel, man? Is Texas back, in your opinion?
I got 3 letters for you. TBD. We don't know yet. It would be in the most Texas Longhorns fashion possible for them to go out there, light it up against Alabama, and then lose to Wyoming only a few days later. That'd be quite hilarious. I, for one, Look, I'm all for Texas being back and everything and being a major player in the college football scene, the playoff and everything. I'm also a man of memes and laughing and having a good time. And I know Texas losing to Wyoming would light this sport on fire. So I'm here for that. It ain't going to happen. But hey, man, you never know.
I can only just imagine the SEC short that would come out if Texas lost to Wyoming. Oh my God!
Yeah, at the end of the day, how I'm kind of taking in the Texas Alabama result is, boy, was I wrong on Alabama, and yeah, I was a little too low on Texas, but I do think that the end result weighs more in favor of Alabama just isn't who we thought they were. The quarterback issues were always going to be there, but I thought there was going to be a strict identity in place where Saban was bringing it back to like early 2010s, mid 2010s, where it doesn't matter who's at quarterback. You're just going to run the ball, assert your dominance with an elite offensive line and everything, and just nasty defense with a bunch of headhunters too. So I overrated Alabama straight up. I think Texas is still a good team, but my overall view is that the Big 12 is still plenty mediocre. That conference is extremely mid, so they could carve it out and still win this whole Big 12. But I'm gonna have my eyes really peeled out for them, because I don't think the competition that they're going to face these next few months is that good. They really need to dominate and build off this great base that they've got after 2 weeks.
For sure.
Kansas beating Texas won't be as embarrassing of a loss as it was a few years ago.
Dude, that Kansas
but
Texas
that's an
game,
annual thing now.
Dude, with the way Jalen Daniels played, we'll get into it, but that Texas Kansas game is looking like that's going to be.
Is that game at Texas or is it at Kansas?
I think it's at Kansas this year.
It's at Texas.
Oh, it's at Texas?
Yeah. They got Kansas, then they got Oklahoma the week after.
So that's in like 2-3 weeks.
Yeah. End of the month.
So Lucas, your turn. Is Texas back? You are the only one on this board that took took Texas last week in the pick'ems.
Yes, sir, baby. Texas is absolutely back. And you know when they came back? When Quinn Ewers gave Liam all of his hair. That's when they came back, all right?
Come on.
Well, shaved head Quinn Ewers is a different animal, all right? Texas.
Quinn didn't have this hair color. Come on.
Quinn Ewers is I think he's good. I think it's time to start thinking of him as maybe a Heisman contender. Maybe not based off of play as much as it is based off of wins. A super impressive win. I think Texas can easily, as Liam alluded to, easily win this Big 12 because the Big 12 is extremely mid, especially this year. But it would be very Texas of them to lose one of these games, like, against Baylor or something like that. If they lose to Wyoming, I'll be kind of stoked, because Wyoming, that means they're a little bit better, and that makes our Texas Tech win look a little bit better. But
what was it a couple years ago, like 3 or 4 years ago, when Texas got like a big win over Oklahoma, and then they immediately dropped against was it Louisiana at home or something like that? They lost to a group of.
They beat ULL a few years ago in their season opener.
There was some team, they had a big win and they dropped to some small school at home, or maybe it was Iowa State. It was one of the two.
I don't remember, but anyways, yeah. So my answer is I do think Texas is back to 2009 maybe, but I wouldn't say they're back to 2006.
Okay.
If that makes any sense. I don't think they're good enough to win the national championship this year, but they may even make it. They may make it to the playoff. I think they can easily win this conference.
The key question is how long will it take for Ohio State fans to start claiming Quinn Ewers as an Ohio State quarterback?
Yeah, that's because they did that Joe Burrow
last week.
They don't.
They already.
That already happened, Connor.
It already happened.
So since it's my turn now, this is my answer to this question.
Texas is back, folks. Not this time.
You're wrong.
We're back.
No, we got you.
When Texas wins tonight,
No way.
against the mighty SEC,
No way.
Texas is back.
This one was invented by a writer.
Still not back. Great win. Great win. An elite
Over the
win for
mighty
Texas.
SEC.
But they are not back. When I think of Texas as back, I think of the 2006 Vince Young team, the team that was winning Big 12 titles every single year. That team is still not back yet. Now, what I say this win does do, it gets Texas back on the map in terms of being a legit contender in college football again. But this kind of leads into our next topic. How much of this game was Texas being that much better than Alabama? Or how much was it that just how concerning Bama's quarterback situation is right now? Josh, I'll start with you.
Okay. So, is this the end of the Bama dynasty? You got to think. I mean, they missed the playoff last year. If they continue play the way they did against Texas, they're not going to make the playoffs this year. So, is it more of a end of the Bama dynasty, or is it more of all of these coaches that made Alabama as good as they were? I mean, they all got jobs as head coaches elsewhere. And, I don't think it's the end. I'm not ready to call an end to the dynasty. I'm not. But if the dynasty is just, playoff wins, national championships, and SEC championship games, then it might be taking a break for a couple of years.
Josh kind of mentioned something that I'm not sure if it was me or someone else said about when we asked the same thing about Clemson and whether their time as title contenders was ending, because he said the same. He said kind of what I think I feel about Clemson. Their coordinators and other coaches that were under Saban left, that kind of made up for any maybe mistakes, or the way that Saban maybe operates as a coach, is he's still stuck in his own ways. Saban's also not. He's more into the transfer portal than Dabo, but not by much from what I've ever heard, if I'm recalling correctly. I don't know. I think Clemson's more. I'd be more willing to say Clemson is more, their time as a title contender is more over than Bama's. Mm-hmm. But yeah, this is like the first time where the question mark at QB was really severe. There's not a single player on the team other than Kool-Aid, McKinstry I can name. I don't even know who their star running back is. I don't know who any of their star receivers are or anything like that.
Yeah.
So it just feels like they've gone back now. Whether that's because also Georgia has taken over a lot of the spotlight in the SEC. That's probably it too. But I think we might be seeing the end of it. But you can't really rule Saban out at this point until he decides to step aside.
All right, Liam, what do you think?
Well, first off, if Alabama's somewhat bad this year for Alabama standards, say 9 wins or whatever, the SEC West is terrible. Terrible for SEC West standards, because I don't think the SEC is very good. I don't think LSU is all that good either. That is just an underwhelming conference. We're talking about the end of the Alabama dynasty, though. It's hard to say, because when we're talking about Nick Saban, I do think he is well aware and he's very cognizant of what he needs to do to win. He tried going out there and getting his transfer portal quarterback because he knew we need a true difference maker at quarterback, and he just swung and he missed. He offered let's be honest. I
Drake
think we're
May.
all well aware that they were gunning for Drake May. I think you could also
really?
make the connection that they were probably gunning for Talia Tagovailoa as well from Maryland. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I think that he was swinging for quarterbacks and just wasn't able to hit, which is somewhat concerning that Saban can't land a difference maker at quarterback through transfer portal. I think he should have gone all out to try and get like a Grayson McCall. I think there are so many names that we could list at quarterback that would have been significant upgrades to Jalen Milroe. The kid cannot throw the ball, and we knew that last year when he played a bit, and it was very evident this last Saturday. And again, that's why I thought Alabama was going to be a run-heavy team that asserted their dominance with the elite offensive line physicality, and we didn't see that. And last year, my issue was they're playing the wrong guys at receiver. Everyone was saying, oh, they don't have talent at receiver. I was just like, dude, they're just playing the wrong guys. They have guys sitting on the bench that they're not willing to play. Like younger guys. Yeah, and I really liked Aaron Anderson as well, who transferred to LSU. He's a true freshman, but he hurt his knee. I like Shaz Preston a ton. I think he's played like a handful of snaps in his Alabama career. He's a redshirt freshman now. Kendrick Law, Kobe Prentice, these are guys that Isaiah Bond, like those guys are starting to get into the mix, but like I don't know, man. And Saban does use the portal. Like he did use the portal to acquire Jermaine Burton and Malik Benson, and Tyler Buckner was the transfer portal quarterback that he has to settle for. And it's just like,
and he's not even playing. He's not even starting. I mean,
yeah, I think that this Alabama team had. I think they had a lot in place to be a national championship contender, and they just whiffed that quarterback in the portal. So it's pretty hard for me to say that it's the end of the Alabama dynasty. And I can tell you right now, if they return the bulk of that offensive line, they're going to have to replace probably 3 guys, which is tough. But that offensive line is still going to be elite next year. If they could figure it out, quarterback, and add a true alpha WR1, I think like the run game is always going to be good. The defense has some studs on it. They'll always just reload. It's hard to close the door on a Nick Saban team is where I'm leading.
Yeah, I mean, I'll let Lucas go next, but I kind of want to pose this question because I think this is kind of an interesting take on the situation. What's going on right now at Alabama. For a long time, Alabama was built on what? Having an elite running back, an elite running game, play the best defense in college football, and win games. That's how they were built. All the way up until what? Maybe 2016? That's when that kind of sort of changed. But they had the talent back then to where they didn't need an elite level quarterback to go win a natty. They did. They just didn't. But then Saban kind of changed with the time, started running more pro style spread offense. He started recruiting that way. So he's getting all these 4 or 5-star recruits, the speedy receivers, the Henry Ruggs, the Jerry Judys, the Jalen Waddles, and it takes off. But now that they don't have a quarterback for that system, you can't live in college football running that system without an elite level quarterback and win a national title. You just can't. And so now, like, he's with the lack of quarterback play they have now, he wants to go back to the 2010 days where running it down your throat, playing a great defense. Well, guess what? Your team's not built to play like that anymore, Nick. Your team's just not. So I don't
even know who's their running back. I don't even know who their running back.
Yeah, exactly.
They play a handful of guys. They have Chase McClellan, who's been there for a while. J.M. Miller's getting some touches. Justice Haynes was a true freshman that's supposed to be like a massive difference maker at some point in his career. I guess it hasn't happened through 2 weeks, but like I think Alabama has everything except an alpha WR1 and the difference maker at quarterback, and that's the difference between being a national championship contender and playing in the Capital One Bowl.
Yeah, right. Lucas, so what do you think about this?
This is a pretty easy answer for me, and the answer is no. It is not the end of the Bama dynasty, and the reason being is recruiting. If I were to see a dip in Alabama recruiting, then I would have a different answer to this. But they're still ranked in the top 5. They've been ranked in the top 5 in recruiting the past, I want to say, 10 years, at least a decade. They've been ranked in the top 5 in recruiting. They continue to recruit very good players, and there's 2 players specifically that are going to be competing, I think, for the starting job next year, and that's Ty Simpson and Julian Sand, who are these two kids are outstanding. Right now, Ty Simpson is a redshirt freshman on the team. I don't think he was quite ready to play, and that's why Saban hasn't really tested him out at all. But these 2 guys, Julian Sand, he's absolutely incredible. Watching his high school highlights, he's absolutely incredible. So I think those guys are going to be the difference makers. And then obviously, like I said, these recruiting classes are just they're ridiculous. So if Nick Saban can't win with these players that are coming in the next couple of years, then it's less of a Bama problem. It's more of a Nick Saban just doesn't have it in him anymore, I think. And so I don't think it's the end of Bama dynasty. I could see him winning 2-3 more national titles under Nick Saban within the next, 6-7 years.
All right. And then the final topic we'll talk about, Colorado is getting game day. Now, they've had Big Noon Kickoff the last 2 weeks. Sounds like Big Noon Kickoff is going to be live again from Colorado.
Yeah, the whole season.
Week in a row. Like, come on, man.
Why not?
So Colorado actually gets college game day. I know there's not too many elite level games. What do you guys make of this?
This week is very weak.
Yeah.
That's for games.
But what do you guys think of this? Do you think that Colorado deserves to have game day playing lowly Colorado State? Or do you think this was just kind of ESPN trying to fit a visit to Colorado into their schedule?
They're trying to do it before they play Oregon next in a week or 2 weeks, and they probably expect Oregon to smack them, and the shine on Colorado to maybe fall away a little bit. Now, maybe Colorado probably is still ranked at that point, or is just outside the top 25 if that was to happen. But I guess they're looking at just trying to it's like with Kansas last year. They went to Kansas when they were the big hot thing.
Well, Kansas was also undefeated, and they were playing undefeated.
Yes. But it's the same thing. Kansas wasn't good. They were suddenly really good last year, but that was also when they were 4 or 5-0 at the point. So I guess they just didn't have another. I think they're just seeing that there's a lot of popularity. Colorado had that huge crowd there for this game, for the game against Nebraska. So.
Josh,
this one's easy. It's the Deion Sanders effect. That's what it is. Man's a star. He's got himself a heck of a football team up there. Turned Colorado from 0 to hero in what's been 2 weeks now, essentially. I don't think Colorado is one of these world beater kind of teams. But Deion Sanders has done so much with Colorado. I understand why they're going to Colorado versus Colorado State. I get it. I mean, when Colorado home opener $400 on average, I get it.
Yeah. All right. So, Liam, what do you think?
So Deion's got to be on the Fox payroll, right? Because we are thinking that every week's going to be Big Noon. And wherever Colorado's, they're doing the Colorado World Tour. I pointed out last week or 2 weeks ago, I was like, this week 3 slate is absolutely dreadful. So I understand them going to Colorado, and I like the aspect that they could have of making talking about this rivalry that's so under the radar and everything, but they're not going to talk for a second about Colorado State and the few really good players that they have, like a Torrey Horton at receiver, a Justice Ross Simmons. They're not going to talk about any of that stuff, and money talks. They're going here because of the Colorado effect, because of the money. They know it's going to attract a bunch of attention, but to spin off of that, why not just do Colorado, Oregon the following week in Eugene? Is it because Colorado's not the host team there, so you really don't want to do it? Then wait 2 weeks and go to Colorado, USC, and Boulder. Like, there's just better options. And for college game day is supposed to be this great show to kick off your Saturday that's showcasing all the great things about college football. Then you choose lowly Colorado State, Colorado for week 3. It's week 3. It's not like this is week 8 and there ain't nothing else to pick out. You just want to hop on Colorado because they're like 7-0, top 10 at the time or something. It's week 3. There's better options out there. There's Southern Illinois, Southeast Missouri State, which is a top 15 FCS matchup that you could have gone and showcased Southeast Missouri State and talked about a Southern Illinois team that thrashed an Austin Peay team that actually competed against Tennessee. And then Southern Illinois ends up beating Northern Illinois last week. You could have gone to like reigning FCS national champs, South Dakota State, I believe, played Drake. Go to the Fargo Dome again. Go to Idaho Cal for all I care. I don't know. Just you have so many more opportunities to go see this Colorado team play. And we know, all of us know, without a doubt, that Colorado is getting another college game day on their campus this season. So why burn one against Colorado State? Go to BYU, Arkansas, and just highlight the maniac Razorback fans. Like, do something else.
I mean,
Cover
and there
the
are
sport like it
games.
should.
There are a lot of games this week.
Go Pitt, West Virginia. Like,
exactly. Pitt, West Virginia. You got the
yeah.
backyard brawl. You got like, we'll get to our game of the week, but there are multiple games this week where they're featuring some really solid group of 5 teams that are both undefeated so far that you could take a chance and go see. Like, it's like Josh said, it is the Dion effect. And personally, I don't like it because I think, not that they're going to Colorado, that's fine. But why not pick a game that actually matters when you're knowingly going to Colorado for game day because of one, Dion, but also the fact that you know they're going to blow out Colorado State. Like,
they got the Tulane Southern Miss.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, Lucas, what are your thoughts on this?
Yeah, I mean, it's obvious that it's because they want to go to Colorado and they want Colorado to blow out Colorado State. Now, I've heard some Colorado fans say that they are slightly concerned with Colorado State because this is one of those games where it's Bowling Green. It's one of those games where it's a rivalry. Anything can happen, is what they are saying. However, none of us agree with that. We think it's going to be an absolute they're going to be left in the dust. It's going to be a bloodbath. It's going to be a bad one. I didn't understand. I was talking about it for weeks for at least the last week and a half that I think game day should have been at Autzen Stadium. It's one of the best places for game day to go. And this is obviously a little bit biased, but at the same time, Eugene always shows out for game day. Game day loves Eugene, Oregon, especially Deion Sanders going to the Nike headquarters. You know, all the things that they could have done with that game. Obviously, they're probably going to end up in South Bend, which is going to be super fun for us. But I think there's going to be more eyes on that Oregon-Colorado game than maybe any game this season. I genuinely believe that. And I don't know what they're doing. They're missing opportunities.
I think that's what it was, though, is they wanted to save that Notre Dame Ohio State game, because I think that's one of those games, kind of like Texas Alabama, where they kind of circled that on their schedule. Like when the schedules came out, they're like, okay, here are games where we for sure want to go for game day. And I think now, especially now that Notre Dame's 3-0, Ohio State's undefeated, that game's going to be at night, under the lights, South Bend, and Notre Dame's wearing the green out jerseys, and it looks like Ohio State might be wearing the gray, the all grays in South Bend. So, yeah, like, I think that's where they're coming from.
And it's not even guaranteed, though, because, I mean, you could very easily see College Game Day in Pullman, Washington, which was one of the most electric College Game Days we have ever seen, was in Pullman, Washington for the Oregon State game. I think that would be
Week 4 slate's unbelievable.
I mean, it's incredible. It's probably it's absolutely insane.
Which
and I mean,
just plays into
Colorado,
more,
there are 2 games later this year that would have made so much more sense. In 2-3 weeks' time, they host USC to end September, and then they also host Oregon State at the start of November. Those are 2 fantastic choices right there. They could have.
And it's not like Colorado's going to fall off a cliff if they lose to Oregon. Like, what are we doing? They're still going to be.
We hope. I guess they hope. You never know. I mean, we've seen teams lose. Like Kansas last year.
Well, Kansas, Kansas lost Jalen Daniels. Yeah.
Well, I just mean I'm not saying that they can't fall off the deep end and become a 6-win team or whatever. I'm just saying the week after they're not. I mean, they're not some forgotten team that everybody hates now and neglects. They're still going to be heavily regarded. Everyone's still going to want to see them play SC, regardless of if they beat Oregon or not. So and any Colorado fans saying that they're worried about Colorado State is out of their minds. Did they see any of Colorado State last year? Or did they see any of Colorado State in their lone game against Washington State?
Did Colorado lose to Colorado State last year? Did they play?
Yeah. They definitely lost to Colorado State last year. If they did play, they definitely lost because I think Colorado only beat an FCS
Cal.
school.
No, they beat Cal.
They beat Cal was the only win that they had.
All right.
They didn't play last season.
So real quick, because we're going a little over
which
here.
Which is bizarre.
Real quick, because we're going over a little here, but kind of rapid fire. What is one week 2 overreaction and takeaway that you guys had from the games this week? Starting with Liam, I'll let you go first.
Okay.
Oh man, put me on the spot.
Yes, sir.
They do that all.
So I mean, you guys wanted to talk about the 8 people, right?
Yep.
Okay, so I won't talk about that. I guess I'll say it. I don't even think it's an overreaction. It's more so just a takeaway. I'm so out on Ohio State. I don't think that they have the necessary quarterback play to go win the title. I think they have extreme issues on the offensive line, and Ryan Day is a negative. Like he just is. Especially when we see this guy calling plays in big games. He shrinks into such a coward. He becomes Courage the Cowardly Dog, and he cannot save the day. I'm so out on Ohio State, and yeah, I mean, I guess that's the. In Tennessee, I'm also out on. I guess those are 2 takeaways I'll have on the spot.
Josh.
Okay. There is something really wrong with Clemson. There really is. Don't let that final score of 66 to whatever fool you. They trailed for a lot of the first half of that game. And whether it is Cade Klubnik, and he's not as good as what
Clemson fans hyped him up to be.
Thought he was last year. It's just there's something really wrong, and I think it's going to come to a head this year. I said in my preseason kind of predictions, I had Clemson losing 3 games. That might be 4 now, and that's a big drop for Clemson.
Can I say what the issue is? Because it's not Cade Klubnik.
Go ahead.
It's Dabo Sweeney. That's the issue. Everyone that was complaining about DJ Uiagalelei in years past and calling for his head to be put on the guillotine needs to apologize to him. And those are a bunch of people that are going out here now and shredding Cade Klubnik for being in a eerily similar situation that DJ was.
But those same people that are shredding him now are the same people that when DJ was there, all they were saying was DJ's god awful, put Cade in.
Exactly, and that's the issue. That's the issue. It's on Dabo. You don't bring in a highly coveted offense coordinator like Garrett Riley. Then 15 minutes before the game against Duke, we learned, he's not here to run his own thing. He's running the Clemson offense. sick, man. We've seen the Clemson offense in the years past. It's absolutely dreadful. It sets quarterbacks up for zero success. The offensive line play is mediocre, and the receivers in years past aren't up to Clemson standards, and they don't develop at receiver. So, like, cool. Like you said, Clemson could be a 3-4 loss team. I was wrong. I had them finishing third in the ACC with just 2 losses. No, they're losing more games than that. I'm very happy about my Duke making the ACC championship prediction, though. Go Duke.
Yeah.
Man, I struck a nerve.
Yeah, heck yeah. Overreaction this week. I would say my biggest overreaction is man, this is actually I'm gonna go to my takeaway. My biggest takeaway is that the Pac-12 is the deepest and best conference in college football. That is my takeaway from this week. There's 8 Pac-12 teams that are currently ranked in the AP Top 25, which is 2 more than the SEC. Pac-12 is absolutely legit in the very final year of the Pac-12, which is hilarious. With that being said, they're going to end up, slaughtering each other, and none of them are going to make the playoffs. But my overreaction, I'm going to say my overreaction is going to go with North Carolina. And it's that I know it was App State and it was a close game last year.
They went to this is the second year in a row they went to double overtime with App State.
I don't think North Carolina's very good. And I'm a Tar Heel. I love my Tar Heels basketball. But I don't think they're very good. I think Drake May is their only player that they have. Hampton had a good game against Appalachian State, but I think Drake May is the only good player they have. And if he doesn't play well at each and every single game, which he really didn't last week, they're going to lose, 4, maybe even 5 games this year against better opponents.
And we thought that defense was improved after holding South Carolina to 17 points. That makes how bad South Carolina's offense is.
Their offensive line is dreadful.
Yeah, it's so
bad. But it really goes to show how hard it is to kind of flip the switch and figure things out when the NCAA decides that your WR1 can't play football.
Hashtag free test.
Yeah, sick.
NCAA got some.
Drake May to Devontae Walker was going to move the needle so much. As someone that has, again, big Maction guy, someone that has closely watched the Kent State program in years past and well aware of what Sean Lewis cooks up, and now we're seeing at Colorado. Devontae Walker was primed to be a top 50 pick after he got to play with Drake May this season. So they're messing with that kid so much. It's disgusting.
I don't understand how, I get following the rules, but it's like
it was a technicality.
It was following the rules. So essentially, obviously the story, whatever. I'm going to tell it anyways. Essentially, you're not allowed to. You have to take a year off if you transfer twice, right? When he did transfer to UNC, then they decided to change the rule after he had already transferred to North Carolina. So then they're deciding, hey, you did it before the rule was changed, so you have to take the fall from the original rules, which is bullshit because he didn't play at the first school that he was at.
That's what I mean. It's a technicality, so technically it doesn't matter because he didn't play football at both schools.
So he's not the only one with this situation. That's still there's another kid that I'll talk about shortly. It's still dealing with his eligibility, but so Devontae was primed to go play East Tennessee State towards ACL. They pulled his offer, so he had nowhere to play football. So he went to NC Central. Then the pandemic happens, COVID, all that stuff. So he couldn't play. So he's now at he's technically only been at one school. He still hasn't played it down. Transfers to Kent State. Now think about how impressive it is that a guy few years under his belt has not played down college football yet, was able to parlay it from being a potential ETSU player to NC Central to now Kent State being a D1 FBS player. That's mad impressive when you haven't even taken the snap. Goes off, thrives in Sean Lewis's offense, insane vertical threat. Got on the map for most people because he thrived against Georgia and took a screen like 56-ish yards to the house. Is one of the most coveted players in the transfer portal. On a technicality, he's a one-time transfer that has only played at one school. Like, there is no reason that he shouldn't play. And another kid dealing with the same issue is Zach Durfee, who's at Washington. He went to North Dakota State for school. He wasn't playing football. He went for literally, he's just singing algebra and everything. He decides, hey, I still kind of want to play football. So he transfers to Sioux Falls, walks on there, tears it up, does so good that he goes to Washington, and he's now he didn't play football at NDSU, and we still don't even know his eligibility. We're entering week 3.
It's insane. It's insane.
Crazy. Mac Brown, hit me up. I still got 4 years.
So my week 2 overreaction is going to be, I think Kansas is a legit contender for the Big 12 title. I know they played lowly Illinois. Illinois was supposed to have an elite level defense again this year. And if you guys watched that game Friday night, Jalen Daniels looks like he just didn't get injured last year. He's just taken off from week 5. And we all remember where Jalen Daniels was week 5 last year. We're talking week 5 at that time was the leader in Heisman voting. People were like, oh, Jalen Daniels for Heisman. And he goes down. If Jalen Daniels plays like this the rest of the year and leads Kansas to a Big 12 title game, and let alone win it, but just say he takes them to the Big 12 title, let that be against Kansas or Texas, Oklahoma, whoever it might be, you can't tell me that kid is not a legit Heisman candidate. That kid is just insane to watch, and it's so fun to watch him play. My takeaway is that Notre Dame is legit. Went on the road. I wanted to hold off until they played an actual decent team. I know how you guys feel about NC State, but nevertheless, NC State still has an elite level defense. They've had a top 10 defense in college football the last 3 years. They've only given up 30-plus points in a game twice since 2021. Against Notre Dame this past weekend, and against Sam Hartman in Wake Forest in week 7 of 2021. Their defense is really good, and Notre Dame put 45 on them. So I think that's my takeaway is I think Notre Dame is now kind of solidified themselves as a legit playoff contender. We'll see if they can answer more questions when they play Ohio State next week. But yeah, so that's my overreaction and takeaway from week 2. Connor?
My overreaction, I don't know if it could be kind of an overreaction. Tennessee was a one-hit wonder. I think they're not as good. I think it really was Hendon Hooker was that good of a quarterback. And I think Joe Milton is not the guy. And I think they're going to fall back to where they were before. I don't know. I think they're going to lose at least 3 to 4 games potentially this year. When you struggle against Austin Peay, and apparently they had a players-only meeting after that game where you still won. I think they still won. It was like 40-something to
30 to 13.
Yeah, it was like 30. It was like 40 to 13, and they still had a players-only meeting because they were down or tied at one point. Like Tennessee's it's a one-year wonder last year for them, and I don't think they're going to be at all impactful. Takeaway, my hopium for VT is completely gone. And Brent Pry, I don't know if he's going to be coaching for his life this year, but I think if he does what Fuente did and stays too loyal to his assistants, to his offensive coordinator and stuff, Pry's not going to be long for being at BT more than past next year. he needs to make a move. He needs to get rid of Boeing. He needs to start Chiron drones, which is probably going to happen because Wells is injured. I don't know. We'll see. But we'll get to the pick'ems later. But my takeaway is that PTs, things could get a lot worse than I was hoping for before they might actually get better.
So
All right.
VT is not back.
VT is not back. So next up, we got the AP poll reaction. I'm going to pull this up. Or I got to pull it up right now. Really quickly.
Yeah, you said you had a major reaction to this.
Yeah, so let's not go too much in depth because we'll do that for our own poll. But just a couple minutes here, like rapid fire. Any thoughts, disagreements on the new AP poll? Josh, start with you.
I got you. So, just some thoughts here. Glad I don't see.
People don't respect the Pac-12.
That's okay.
They never have. They never will.
When a Pac-12 team wins the national championship this year, they'll have to.
We can't because we just cannibalize each other, and that's what it's going to be like.
It's going to be one of the Pac-2 that are going to win the national championship this year.
That'd be
hilarious. It's very poetic that in the Pac-12's final season, it's going out with the biggest bang it has. In true Pac-12 fashion, all these great teams are going to cannibalize each other just like the good old days. And it's very ironic that in the final year of this conference, the national media and all these fans, whether they're in the Pacific Northwest or the Southeast, or in Europe, I don't know. It's very ironic that it took till the final season in the Pac-12's history for them to realize that the Pac-12 actually plays a great brand of football with so much talent. It stinks because this is respect that this conference never would have gotten a few years ago, despite being not every bit as good, but pretty dang good in years past.
It's been, I mean, pretty damn close for the past.
Always been good.
It's never been. Come on.
All right, come on,
Josh.
Damn
close.
Josh,
it's always been good.
It's my turn.
Josh.
Okay. Glad to see Washington State rewarded there. Is the U back? Absolutely not. Nobody goes to their games.
They filled their stadium sellout this week, by the way.
No.
Yes, they did.
Who are they playing?
Oh, well, nobody showed up, man.
They were all there.
Free tickets.
You didn't see all the empty seats, Lucas?
This week?
This past week? Yeah.
Dolphins Chargers, where they had AI? They actually had AI fans.
Anyways.
Brother. Okay.
Go ahead, Josh.
Texas got a good bump. I like where they're at. Ohio State, a little higher than I would have them, but just because they haven't played very good competition, they haven't impressed me very much. All that kind of stuff. Tennessee should probably be closer to 16 or 17, but that's just me. I was never really high on Tennessee anyways. I like it. I like where people are at in here.
All right. Liam?
Yeah, so first off, it'd be sick if AP and the poll got a really good group of people that actually watched the entire sport and knew how to vote. That'd be really cool, in my opinion, and help the sport out before playoff rankings came in and those dweebs did their thing and completely botched things. But I mean, I make my own poll. I have for years. I did a preseason poll for the first time in a few years because had people staring at me with water guns pointing to my head. So I had to a preseason poll. Hated doing that, but that's one of the first issues is you make a preseason poll and you cling on to what you thought in May and August about how you perceive the team. You can't do that if you're evaluating these teams. First of all, this Fox needs to work on these graphics. It gives me an aneurysm. I don't know why it's built like this. It's terrible to look at. You can't tell me Ohio State is the sixth best team in the country. They are not better than Penn State for starters. They're not better than Washington either. If you actually just simply evaluate these teams and the talent that they have and how they've looked through 2 weeks, you can make a very easy assessment. The Ohio State's not better than either of those teams. And they're probably not better than Notre Dame too. But nonetheless, you can't cling on to what you thought in the preseason. There's been nothing that Tennessee has indicated to be worthy of being the number 11 team in the country. Like, what are we doing? You have to be willing to adapt to the sport. I had Tennessee ranked 13th after week 1 to win against Virginia. I dropped 13 was my preseason poll. After week 1, dropped them to 14. After the Austin P game, I've dropped them to 19. You just have to be willing to adapt to this stuff. I had Ohio State at 7 or 6. I had Ohio State at number 6 entering the season. They're at number 11 for me now. Like, you have to be willing to.
That's exactly where I had them too. So
like, why aren't the voters like doing this stuff? It blows my mind. If we're talking about the Pac-12 as one of the premier conference, as the premier conference in the sport, sure, they have 8 teams or whatever in here. I'm not a numbers guy, but the numbers next to their names do not reflect that. Oregon State is entirely too low. Oregon is too low. Utah's higher than Oregon and Oregon State. That just tells me that voters are not watching the Pac-12 because Utah is not a better team right now than Oregon or Oregon State, and they're probably not a better team than I don't know. Where do I have Utah? I have Utah at 16. I started them at 14, got them up to 13, now at 16. Washington State, I had number 24 going into last week. I have them at 18 now. I think Wisconsin reeks for what it's worth, but voters stink, dude. Like, they don't know what they're doing. Tell me there's a team missing from here that lost last week that should not be gone. That's Tulane. Why is Tulane dropped from the poll? Because they lost to Ole Miss,
without their quarterback.
17.
Without their quarterback,
they don't have Michael Pratt. They don't have Michael Pratt. They play they're up 7 or 10 or whatever at halftime. They gave this their all. Tulane is so much better than I thought for what it's worth because I didn't think Tulane would be that good. I thought they'd be an 8-9 win team and regress. I was very wrong. Their speed is evident. That's a very good ball club. Their defense is super impressive. Tulane gets a 4th and 1 stop to get the ball back down 7 with a minute 50-ish left. Ole Miss false start. So now Lane Kiffin says, yo, you can hit from 56, right? It's from 56, 10-point lead, force a turnover, take it back to the house. There's how you get to 17 from a game that was almost Tulane is down 7 with the ball, backup quarterback. Let's go drive that on the field, tie us up, force overtime. Why Tulane is missing? Just I told you guys I had overreactions. Maybe it's just more of a takeaway. I hate the AP poll.
Everyone hates the AP poll. Don't
know what they're doing. And I dive into the other stuff and teams that receive votes. Tell me why Arkansas is receiving 33 points in this poll. What have they done to warrant?
They struggled with Kent State.
Kent State, the worst team in the FBS per the Liam Blutman metrics, which is just my brain entering the season. Kent State's absolutely dreadful. And to a point, Kent State's been impressive through 2 weeks, despite the fact that they've been blown out by UCF and handled by Arkansas. TCU getting 19 points does not make any sense. TCU was overrated entering the season. I didn't rank them to start the season. I could not care less what happened in 2022. We're talking about teams in 2023. Who cares what happened last year?
Yeah.
Most of that team isn't with them today. Their offense coordinator isn't with them today. TCU getting 19 points, just you shouldn't be voting. Wisconsin got 10 after having this unimpressive 1-1 start. What is going on? Ranking Iowa doesn't make sense either. Why is Iowa ranked? Their offense still has a whole bunch of issues. I don't understand this stuff. I just don't.
All right, Lucas.
Much agreed with most of what you said. Iowa makes no sense to me, absolutely 0 sense to me that they're in the top 25. I don't understand what you saw from the Iowa State game that made you think that Iowa is a top 25 team. But clearly they didn't watch it. They just knew it was the Republican Bowl and decided to put them in.
Can I fire off a take real quick?
Yeah.
Ranking Big Ten West teams, you should be illegal, or you should have to file for a permit and let's see if you're allowed to do it. There is no reason to rank any team in the Big Ten West for the foreseeable future. Coming from a guy that foolishly is all in on Minnesota to win that division this season and rank them 18th preseason.
The Golden Gophers.
What a mistake. That was a mistake. That division.
They're gonna go into UNC.
I was all about Wisconsin to start the year.
I didn't understand any of the Wisconsin stuff.
I was about Wisconsin because one,
Tanner Mordecai was really good.
Mordecai's just overrated.
I don't think Iowa can outscore Wisconsin. I really don't. And that's the best option I had.
It's a very bad look when you're saying a team can't outscore a team in like a 16-13 type of game. That indicates why we need to go to the banning Big Ten West teams from
Exactly. I will say I will give Wisconsin a little bit of a blanket. It's a very tough. It's tough to play in Pullman, Washington.
They also struggled versus Buffalo, who just lost to.
That's fair. That's why I said a little tiny blanket.
No, not Holy Cross.
One of them little
Fordham. They lost to Fordham.
One of them little baby blankets.
Yeah,
you gave your daughter.
It is very, very tough to play in Pullman, Washington. Asked the Ducks last year. I'm pretty sure they were down like 20 points the whole game until they won somehow at the end. But moving forward, I'm under the impression that Ole Miss is a very good team. And like you said before, you think Tulane is a very good team. I also think Tulane is a very good team, and Ole Miss took care of business the way that they should have. I like that they're at 17 now from, I believe, 20 last week. I also do believe that Oregon State is a better team than both Kansas State. I don't want to say they're better than LSU quite yet, but I definitely think they're better than Utah, Tennessee, and Ohio State.
So I'm going to say 12 for what it's worth.
Yeah, there you go. I do think they're a better team. I think Oregon is definitely a better team than Tennessee, Utah, and Ohio State. I think Penn State is potentially a top 4 team in the country. I don't know if you could put them there quite yet.
I have them at number 1. Just throwing that out there.
Fair enough. I think Penn State is a very, very good team. I've had Michigan at number 1 since the preseason polls. I think Michigan's the best and most complete team in college football. But other than that, I don't know that I love. I think I had Texas over USC in my poll, but I don't. Looking at it right now, it doesn't feel right to me. I think USC is probably a better team. Power rankings, I would have USC over Texas.
Even with the defense?
Yeah, because I don't think there's a team. I genuinely don't think there's after what I've seen, I don't think there's a single team in college football that can outscore USC.
Washington,
but there's a team, but there's a team out there.
Points on that defense.
There's a team.
I don't know, man.
I'll get into
it. It'll be interesting. I think.
Go ahead, Lucas.
Well, I just think with USC, as of right this very second, I don't see a team outscoring them. However, it's a long season. You're going to end up having dudes getting beat up, especially in this Pac-12 team. I mean, right now, Oregon. I looked at Oregon's schedule in the Quack 30, and they have 6 ranked teams left on their schedule, which is absolutely stupid. I'm sure USC and all these other guys have the same 6 ranked teams remaining. Actually, USC probably has 7 because they have Notre Dame as well.
USC has a stretch of 6 games to end their year in a row because they already have their bye week. USC doesn't have a bye week. Their bye week is this week. So they don't get a break the rest of the year. They have a streak where they got to play at Notre Dame, Oregon, Utah, Washington, Oregon State, like all back to back to back.
If they go undefeated, they're the greatest football team.
So SC's issue is on their schedule. It's at Notre Dame. The next week is hosting Utah, and then you play at Cal, sure. But then you're hosting Washington, you're at Oregon, and you're playing UCLA. That's SC's issue, is the back end of this schedule is an absolute gauntlet. Like, dude, you have to go to Notre Dame and then come back, and 7 days later you're playing the physicality of Utah. There's no break.
Yeah. And you don't get a bye
likely
week
healthy
either.
Okay,
Cam
we got
Rising.
guys. We got to get to
All right.
Ryan. With
No,
how
I
many
know.
pickums we have, we need
Well,
to
let's
start.
go ahead.
Are we doing pick'ems this?
Yeah, we are
show?
doing it.
Yes.
Yeah, we are.
Ryan,
What the hell? I didn't do my.
Yeah.
Oh,
Well,
man.
we're doing. Anyways,
Ryan,
all right.
show our top 25.
So
real
yeah,
quick. Let's
so I'll
get
show ours
these.
now. Initial thoughts on our own.
Man.
Let's see.
Do you do it like you each vote and it's like a cumulative?
Yeah.
That's
That's
tough
what
to
we're doing.
say. All right, yeah.
All right, let me pull this up here. Sorry. Let's see.
Yeah, I know I'm out there with the Penn State thing just to fill the time before you have this up. I'm out there on the island right now.
It makes sense. I get it. They're a very good team.
All right.
No, I think
Here
I'm just being
is-
people to it because I have them win the Natty.
Here is
Fair.
the week 2, week 0 podcast poll. And you guys have any thoughts? Because I think this is, I know how Liam feels
Who
about
voted for Iowa?
Iowa.
Voted for Iowa.
Connor.
Wait, I did. I don't remember.
Yes.
I don't think I put Iowa in there.
I did
so.
I don't know why I put Iowa there. I must have. That must have
However,
been a
I
mistake.
will say the UCF one is kind of a bad pick at this point because I'm pretty sure Rise Plumlee is
John's
maybe out for
out.
the season.
I don't think he'll be out for the season. I think it'll be a few weeks.
Okay.
What's his injury?
I believe it's leg.
That might be enough.
It was
for them
very
to lose
late in
one
the
or two.
game as well. Like we're talking UCF's just trying to set up for their game-winning field goal, and that's when he got
I
hurt
remember
with like
seeing
2
that.
or
Yeah,
3
he was
plays.
No.
He was limping coming off the field
Yeah.
after that.
Very tough loss for
So-
a guy who was very high on Boise State this season.
Are there?
but was
You guys
petrified.
have any concerns? Any disagreements? What do you guys think about our poll?
Well, let's get Liam's thought as he quickly looks.
Okay, so I'm lower on Michigan than the consensus right now. That's factored in for multiple reasons. I just think Penn State's a better team than them straight up. I think Michigan, I think the offense is going to struggle when they play at Minnesota. Like I've been very worried about that game for the past few months, I would say, because I know what Minnesota's defense is capable of. So like Michigan, I understand it though, and Michigan could prove me wrong again, but I'm cautiously lower on them than others, and I completely understand having them number 2. I have no beef there, just a different line of sight because, I mean, the other teams I have is like Penn State, Georgia, Florida State, Washington, USC. It's all these teams are really, really good, and you could completely understand one other person just having a quick difference and change of pace in the mind. So I think it's a strong pull. I think Tennessee is too high for my liking. Alabama probably too high after that win as well. I mean, it's hard to say though because I only dropped them to 10, and I had the number 1, so like I whiffed there. Like I said, I thought they'd be all good. I think Ohio State probably a little too high as well because I think they have major flaws, and those aren't flaws that people are going to be able to see until they play and lose to Notre Dame. A little foreshadowing there of what my pick will be next week. But yeah, like Tennessee, I just think they're living off the preseason brand, and you guys recognize that because you dropped them 4 spots for that inexplicable win over Austin Peay. They have major issues, and Joe Milton started like 1 of A in that game. I think he's just always been overrated because he could throw a football the entire length of the field. Cool, sick. They have major issues at wide receiver. They need an alpha WR1 to show up. Jalen Hyatt, Cedric Tillman are out of your offense now. But I think Tillman was always better than Hyatt, but Hyatt was such a product of the scheme with his pure speed. They're not seeing that this year. Things just aren't meshing. I think they're gonna struggle. Like as a whole, like I would also move Oregon State up, Washington State as well. Washington State, their defense will never get credit because of the Washington State brand. Dicker has an incredible defense there. They have 3 NFL caliber players at minimum on the defense, and Shaw Smith-Wade, Jaden Hicks, and Ron Stone. Like, Wazoo's legit. I like the Kansas ranking. I regret not ranking them. That was just really bad by me. Colorado at 18, having them at 21 after a TCU win, I think is fair. I was under the impression that I wasn't going to rank Colorado till after the Oregon game, regardless of win or loss. And then stuff just happened around the country. I was like, all right, well, I guess it's time to just get on Dion's payroll and get Colorado in there.
Fair.
So I have them at 24. I just want to see more against good teams. And I'll rank them still if they lose. Like, I don't care. We shouldn't be ditching teams because of the loss. You have to do so much more than just evaluating the W or the L. I like Duke at 19 as well. Look, you guys don't know us probably. I was very high on Duke entering the season, number 17 preseason poll. I have them at number 14 right now. I dropped them from 12 to 14 after this week just because other teams impressed me more. But Duke's really good. And the issue is, you can ask any fan, ask 1,000 fans to name a Duke player other than Riley Leonard, and they can't tell you a player, which is an issue because the media does not hype up Duke. They have so many good players. Mike Elko is one of the most underrated coaches in the country. Get looking forward to ranking Duke higher than 19 as the season progresses, because that team, like, they have serious potential to mess stuff up.
Yeah. Anything else you see you don't like, you like?
I said a lot and stopped myself short. I would get Tulane in there, though, if they beat Southern Miss. I would just get Tulane back in there. Again, I was very hesitant about how Tulane would fare this season. I thought they would regress, take a step back. I saw like a 0-2 start. They handled South Alabama. That's a very impressive win. Tulane's been one of the most impressive teams in the country that's at 1-1 right now. I guess that's not as big of a list as I made it out to be, but
yeah. And if you notice, if you look at our poll, we do exactly what you do, Liam. We even if a team wins, we drop them based off of how they play. Like, you see Utah drop 3 spots, Tennessee dropped 4. We dropped Ohio State 1. Oklahoma, they won, but we also wanted to give Duke credit because of that head-to-head. I think what we all did in our head was kind of, Duke has that win over Clemson. Oklahoma hasn't played anybody yet, so kind of wait and see. But we also reward teams for playing ranked teams and, either blowing them out or looking really impressive, like a Kansas or a Miami, Washington State. We're not like, that's how we rank our stuff. So that's why I think we kind of are on the same page a lot with how we would rank teams and slide them down. So I think that's pretty cool.
For the most part, I would say it's a pretty similar poll. I could send you guys mine after the show or something.
How do you feel about the graphic?
I think the graphic is so much better than Fox's, because Fox has a setup as like 1 and then 2 and then 3, but you guys are it's so much more
visually appealing
as well. Yes, exactly.
And we even added the drop in the how much they teams rise. I thought that was
cool. I think it's a much better than what Fox's puts out.
The golden 4 right there for
I like that as well for
tomorrow.
You know what Ryan needs to do? He needs to send that to you, and then you need to post that on the.
Yeah, I'd be like, hey, good. These guys get it.
for our one that I do with the Transfer Portal CFB, which is the kind of college football outlet that created After No Context Success. We just go 1 through 5 and then blah blah blah, and then it's just lines like that. Now I guess there's a bunch of ways to do them.
But
all right, boys. I'm actually gonna dip out. Ryan, I will send you the pick'ems.
All right, just send them in the chat.
And it probably won't be today. So unfortunately, the fans watching, they won't get to know my picks until probably afterwards. What
Lucas will do is he'll wait until after all of us pick.
Lucas won't be here. His picks don't count.
I'm not like that. You know I will do my research because I always do, and I'll probably still be one pick behind Connor at the end of
part of his
How
research is to see what
How
Connor
many
picked.
games do you guys pick?
a lot.
We pick a
That's
lot.
right.
A lot.
All right.
Already, okay. So through 2 weeks, what are our score? Like we got
All right,
three
so,
people tied for first
peace,
with
Lucas.
66.
Yeah, peace out, boys.
See ya. Nice
All right,
meeting
so
you.
here's the pick'em standings.
Yeah, nice to
Oh
meet
my
you, man.
gosh.
So
Yeah, already.
So Connor is at 66. We got a 3-way tie for 66.
We're working
And then
on
I'm sitting there
cutting the
just-
games down a little.
Yeah,
I'm
you're
sitting
gonna
there at
you're
65.
gonna be hating Ryan when you see how many picks there are.
Because
What is it, like 30?
yeah.
At least,
right.
yeah.
What?
Utah
Are we
State.
picking like 29
All right.
point spread straight
Connor,
up? What's that?
Connor.
Yeah, he's like, here's a
Connor.
game that no one cares about: Utah State versus Air
Okay,
Force.
I
Is this-
care
is this
about
game-
every game. I care about every game. We only picked 10 though, and we picked Southeast Missouri State. Southern
All right.
Illinois this week.
So Utah State at Air Force. Air Force is only a 9.5-point favorite. Liam, since you are a guest, go first, my friend.
I like Air Force in this one. I'm not really big on Utah State this season or the Mountain West as a whole. I think similarly to the Big 12, it's full of a bunch of mediocrity. I thought coming into the year that it'd be like Texas is to Boise State. Like I thought that would be the comparison, and the rest of it is just going to be a mess. Then you have some bomb feeders, but now I'm not in love with this Utah State team. I think Air Force going into the season was the second best team in the Mountain West. I'll continue to ride with them, and they got a dog at safety in Trey Taylor.
All right, Josh.
Man, he would blend right in. Goodness. I also like Air Force in this game. 9.5 points. And I'll say they cover that. Hey, give me Air Force.
Yeah, I'll take Air Force as well. Connor.
Air Force.
Oh, we said we weren't going to let Connor pick that. We'll let Connor.
Next up.
Lucas is technically picking.
Louisville at Indiana. Louisville is a 10-point favorite.
You how he says that?
Louisville.
The way he's doing it is like gross.
Louisville.
How he says that. Hold on. Liam, how do you say that?
Louisville.
Boys, I live here.
Louisville.
Louisville. Louisville.
There you go.
There you go. Louisville.
Oh man, you guys really are picking disgusting matchups.
Yes, we are.
Look,
All
this
right.
matchup is so bad that Indiana is actually going to pay Louisville $1 million to break their 3-game contract. They just want to play this one, get it over with, and then no more.
Yeah, this game smells out loud.
Who we got, Liam?
So I think Louisville actually has legit talent, especially on the offensive end. The defensive end, aside from Jarvis Brownlee, is an extreme mess. They have 3 absolute dogs at receiver though, and Jamari Thrash, Kevin Coleman, and Chris Bell, who I'm a massive fan of. Louisville, the ability to win games and compete in them is very simple. Get those 3 guys the ball. I don't care if you're throwing them a 1 yard, like if you're throwing it a yard away or you're doing a touch pass, a jet sweep, blah, 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 throwing the vertical route. Like, get the ball in those 3 kids' hands and you could win ball games. So Ward Jones also a really good running back. Indiana is going to be one of the worst teams in the Power 5. 10 points here seems ridiculous. If Louisville isn't able to cover this, pretty concerned. If I wasn't already concerned despite a 2-0 start, because yikes, I hate this game. Why are we picking this?
Yeah, right.
Josh?
Right. Okay, give me Louisville for this one. And I think Indiana's a little bit better than we're giving them credit for. Just a little bit.
Just a little bit. Just a smidge.
Okay.
Smidge.
Okay.
How? They
How?
are
Okay.
terrible.
Hold on.
Okay, guys.
Who
Come
has
on.
Louisville played and beat? Yeah, Georgia Tech.
They beat Georgia Tech and
Ooh,
they beat Murray
Murray
State.
State. Oh, wow.
I don't think Louisville's
just-
good either.
Okay. All right. So I
Josh,
can see the
make your
Tech here.
pick.
Louisville.
Jesus Christ.
Lord.
Louisville. Connor.
Louisville.
All right.
Oh,
Iowa
see?
State at Ohio. Kenneth Rourke is back for this game. Or Curtis Rourke, my bad.
Yes, Curtis. Please do not
Curtis
disrespect the Rourke legacy.
Yes,
Oof.
Curtis Rourke.
You don't even realize you hit a soft spot there.
Iowa State is a 3-point favorite on the road. Liam, who you got?
So one question: is there like a pick standings that there will be for guest pickers?
So
as well?
so each guest we keep track.
Okay. Have you guys had one yet? Have I
just Phil? That's it. And then
Okay.
we've got a couple guests.
He's bad man. He's a Michigan YouTuber.
Okay, well, I'm competing against him then. I hope that.
Yeah.
I look. I hope you guys all pick Iowa State. I'm picking Ohio here. I wrote about Ohio for our preseason magazine that we did. Big Maction guy, as I've kind of alluded to. If there's one game I could go to this college football season, since I'm so occupied with no context and running that count, the one game I want to go to is Central Michigan, Ohio on a Tuesday or a Wednesday night. I think it's actually a Wednesday night this fall. I really like what Ohio has. I do think they rushed Curtis Rourke back, which I'm worried about. I don't think he was up to – they should have beat San Diego State too, which really annoys me. That win against FAU was really good. They got it done in a great way, 17-10, I believe. Sam Wigsless is a stud. They have studs everywhere. Like, I love this Ohio team. C.A. Bangior is a future potential, like, NFL roster candidate at running back. Torrey Cox Jr., they call him Scrawny Dog. He's just a really good corner. Yeah, I have to take Ohio. I bet you guys got a lot more Ohio talk than you expected.
Whole lot, but it's all good, man. It's all good. I'm going to take Ohio State. Oh, good Lord.
Ohio State. Ooh.
No, Iowa State.
All right.
Okay. Iowa State.
I'm going to join my boy Liam. I'm taking the Bobcats of the Ohio University.
The Fighting Jason Preston.
Yes, sir. I think, Ohio has one of the best defenses in college football. And if you watch that Iowa State team against Iowa, it was a brutal watch. It was absolutely a brutal watch. So
Usually is.
give me Ohio. Connor, who are you taking?
Ohio. My cousin went there, so I got to back the Bobcats.
The full college game day pick there.
Yes. Oh, not so fast, my friend. Wake Forest at Old Dominion. Wake Forest is a 14-point favorite.
I can't believe that we're, one, picking this game, that two, Old Dominion beat Louisiana. The Raging Cajuns' demise is happening right before us. The program is collapsing, all because Billy Napier, of all people, exited. Crazy to think about. Anyway, Wake Forest pretty easily here. Kalen Carson's an NFL caliber cornerback who I spoke with Trevor Sikkema, who was on our podcast today, and he talked up Carson. And Jamal Banks is an NFL caliber receiver, one of the best jump ball receivers in the country. An absolute joy to watch.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's see. Last week, the Demon Deacons put an end to the absolute juggernaut that was Vanderbilt. So I'm going to take Wake Forest over the Monarchs here.
See,
Good pick.
I'm very tempted to take ODU here, mainly because in the state, anytime they're playing a team from the East Coast, they always seem to give them fits. From the ACC.
That's always like Virginia battles.
Or Virginia Tech. But it's at ODU. It's at ODU. That's the thing.
No, but this team, I just don't think this.
And I have no faith in Mitch Griffiths because the dude.
Ryan, just give an answer because
I'm taking Wake Forest, but I'm also taking ODU in the points because Mitch Griffiths threw 3 interceptions against Elon. So yeah, give me Wake Forest.
Wasn't expecting Mitch Griffiths.
We need Ryan. As we get further into these pick'ems, we're just gonna cause like Liam to have like an aneurysm seeing some of these picks.
Go ahead.
Well, I like this though. This is fun. We're all gonna shoot like 12% on 18 point spreads.
Connor, were you taking Wake Forest?
I said Wake.
Okay.
He's taking Wake.
FIU at
Oh my gosh. You took this is probably the Sickos Committee game of the millennium. I'll take UConn. Just FIU, how they have 2 wins is beyond me. FIU has 2 wins. Oh yeah,
they're 2-1.
Unbelievable because they somehow, some way beat North Texas, and then they had the squeaker against Maine.
They didn't just beat North Texas; they blew out North Texas.
Which
hold on.
That's
North
what
Texas,
I just.
The same North Texas that beat Baylor?
No,
Texas State beat Baylor. Marquee Sun Belt program on the rise.
Josh.
Jim Mora only beat 7.5 years.
You're taking UConn?
I'm taking UConn.
All right, give me the Huskies. Connor?
Oh, I mean,
take the Panthers, man.
I'll take the Panthers because I just picked up Chris Mitchell, and I'm starting him in our college football fantasy team because I don't have any good wide receivers right now because Squirrel White sucks for me. So he sucked for me.
Hey man, I got Brew McCoy and I got to deal with him sucking.
So, but I mean, Chris Mitchell in our fantasy league, not this past week, but the week before, he had 73 points.
Jesus.
Yeah, so I picked him up. I'm going to start him. He's my lineup.
You're taking the Panthers?
FIU for that.
He's taking FIU.
Good to see some other guys playing college fantasy, though. That's nice.
Yeah. Tulane at Southern Miss. Tulane is a 12.5-point favorite on the road. Shout out to our boy Cam Harrell, a friend of the podcast, my former high school teammate, starting safety for the Golden Eagles.
Special teams.
Shout out to Sippy, man.
Yeah, shout out to Sippy from Sippy Sports Show here on YouTube. He won our Guest of the Year award last year in the Week 0 Awards. So Southern Miss was the only loss that Tulane had last year. Do they do it again?
Yeah. So we do an upset special where we do 2 picks, upset picks every week. I had Tulane over Kansas State last season. I then proceeded to pick against Tulane getting upset 4 times in the rest of the season, which kind of whoops. I cannot believe that they lost to Southern Miss last year. Also, you guys, glaring omission, none of you shout out Frank Gore's auntie. Come on, please tell her to chill as well. I'm taking Tulane here, though. I'm kind of buying into Tulane after I sold a lot of stock in the offseason.
Yeah, that's a fair point. You know, Southern Miss came out real flat against FSU last week. I think they're going to play with some energy this week. I think they're going to come out. They're going to say, you know what? We're better than what we played last week. Give me Southern Miss.
Yeah, I'm taking Southern Miss too, mainly for the fact that last time we picked this game and we had Cam on the show, I told Cam in our own personal DMs, I said, man, for the show, I'm going to take Tulane just so you know, but you're still my boy. And he told me, and I have this text saved on my Snapchat. He goes, trust me, I'm going to make you regret that decision. And then he's the one that gets the game-sealing interception against Tulane last year. So
that's a whole lot better than being left on red.
Yeah. So for that reason alone, give me the Golden Eagles. I'm not sleeping on Cam again.
Was that game was at Tulane last year?
Yep.
I'll still take Tulane, unfortunately. Sorry.
You're not a real one, Connor.
No.
We're enemies of Cam. Someone's got to be an enemy in this world.
Yeah. All right, next up. NIU at Nebraska. Does Nebraska get their first win?
Oh, man. I'm on record saying that Northern Illinois was going to beat Nebraska this season. I said that on someone else's pod last month. I then kind of retracted the statement and safely said, wait, no, Northern Illinois is just going to beat one of Boston College or Nebraska. So I kind of already won that, but I kind of want to pick against Nebraska again because it's quite hilarious to see them lose. And Northern Illinois is going to have to do a lot of self-reflecting after losing to those mighty Salukis last week. Think, Northern Illinois, I'm wrong. They're not going to make the MAC championship game like I thought they would. they're still, though, they played a lot of close games last year, last 2 years. I mean, they notoriously do. Their issue last year was quarterback play was not consistent. They had about 5 different quarterbacks. Consistency is a big thing for them this season. I just want to be different. So you could give me Northern Illinois here and hope that Trayvon Rudolph catches a deep touchdown to help me out, please.
Josh?
I think NIU spent all their upset dollars at Boston College. So give me Nebraska, but it's not going to be by 10.5. No, sir. This is going to be a time expiring field
Wait a minute.
goal.
You got Nebraska winning a close game?
That's
Nebraska
nuts.
winning a short game.
That's nuts. Because if you
that's the craziest pick.
If you went up to like Matt Rule right now, just chilling in his house and just reset his face, and pulled his face off, it's just Scott Frost. Like that's where we're at right now. So it's pretty nuts that you're riding with that.
I would have gone away with it $2 for you meddling kids.
Yeah, like that's nuts.
Oh man, I'm taking Nebraska. I think this is where Nebraska's talent level, gets them to where they need to go. But God, for the love of God, I cannot watch another Jeff Sims led Nebraska drive. Please put someone else in.
As a devout NFL draft guy, year in, year out, starts doing firing off NFL draft content the literal second for the next season, literally right after the Mr. Irrelevant pick is made. Seeing Jeff Sims get NFL draft talk for the 2024 class entering this season when we already know that class has so many good quarterbacks. Like, what are we doing? What?
Connor, who you got, man?
I love how you're just entirely just tired with the entire institution of college football, like the AP poll, football.
The AP poll's outdated.
That's
All
true.
right, Connor.
The Heisman voters, you don't want to get me started there.
Oh God, yeah.
Popularity contest.
Well, it's
Connor,
a
you got
quarterback competition. It's a quarterback award.
It's
If
just like
Joe
your-
Alt's the best player in college
Yeah,
football, I would vote for Joe Alt.
It's just like the NFL MVP is just best quarterback, pretty much.
Connor, who are you taking?
It's my fault that he hasn't picked.
Yes, that's his fault, not mine.
See. Now he's thinking maybe I should take NIU.
I am
You
thinking.
don't wanna.
I don't want to.
No, it's a gross brand of football that they play. It's like Big Ten West light.
Take it.
Oh
Take
God.
NIU.
That'd
Take
be the worst.
Wait, Connor, as we say on this podcast, huck the Fuskies.
Rocky Lombardi's.
Oh, yeah, give me
just
Nebraska.
remember that.
Yeah, like the Fuskies. Give them Nebraska.
Give me Nebraska.
South Alabama at Oklahoma State. Oklahoma State is a
nice.
7-point favorite.
Everyone's flocking to their nearest laptop to watch this on ESPN Plus. I had high hopes for South Alabama entering the season. I had no hopes for Oklahoma State. I like and respect Josh Pate a lot. Picking Oklahoma State to make the Big 12 title game is one of the worst predictions that's out there. And I'm a guy that picked UNLV to make the Mountain West Championship, so I'm a guy that knows about some bad takes. He'll tell you, too, ain't no way Oklahoma State's making the Big 12 championship. I need to sit down and talk with him about that because I don't understand it. Again, I was wrong. I called South Alabama possibly the most complete team in Group 5. That's a mistake. That's not true.
Oklahoma they are really good.
They are really good. They looked so bad though against Tulane, and the secondary got exposed, which is a massive concern for me because the secondary.
But however, Oklahoma State has looked terrible against Central Arkansas.
Yeah, they've looked terrible. That's why I'm picking South Alabama. I'm backing the Jags.
All right, Josh, who you got?
You know what? Pen me down for South Alabama. Let's do it.
Yeah,
I'm taking the best team in the state of Alabama. Give me the Jaguars.
Better than the Alabama State. Nice.
Who even is Oklahoma State's quarterback? I don't even know.
No idea.
Well, they have the Gundy kid. They have Rangel, and then they have the actual. Oh my gosh, Alan Bowman. They play 3 quarterbacks and they all stink. Yeah, it's a luxury, I guess. I don't know.
I'll take Oklahoma State.
Ooh, after hearing
He
about
likes
those
the
QBs.
quarterback.
Ooh.
All right,
I'm
Vandy.
just trying to get a point ahead of you guys.
We were just talking about UNLV.
Yeah.
You know, Liam's Mountain West Championship
runner
team.
up.
We got the fighting Vanderbilt Commodores at
Yeah,
UNLV. Vandy's only a 4.5-point favorite.
Unironically, going to be glued to the TV to watch this one because it's the first chance I actually have to watch UNLV's go-go offense under Brendan Marion, who I think is going to be one of the most enticing names in the coaching carousel at some point in the next few seasons. I'm taking UNLV here because they haven't played that well in their first 2 games offensively. Their special teams has been great. The defense was even pretty solid against Michigan, which says a lot because I know that they have a lot more in the tank on offense. And Doug Brumfield, we interviewed him before the season. He told me something that's been engraved into my brain and said, Coach Marion's just got some tricks up his sleeve. Every time that he walks into the office or facility and you say hey to him, he's just got a new idea, a new innovative invention that he's got cooking up. This guy told me, Doug told me, if you see us with 6 quarterbacks on the field at once, don't be surprised. I don't think he meant it, but that's been engraved into my brain because it would do something like that. And I can't wait to see them actually do that this week.
All right, Josh, who you got?
All right. I don't know where all this Vandy hype came from, and I do not respect it. Give me UNLV. Vanderbilt's only going to win 2 games this year.
Give me the fighting AJ Swans. Give me the Commodores of Vanderbilt. Connor?
I'm back in Vandy. Give me Vandy.
Yes.
Plus anchored down, huh?
That's where my uncle went to college, and he's battling cancer right now. So I'm doing
anchor down.
Anchor down for Connor's.
All right. Next up, Army at UTSA. UTSA is an 8.5-point favorite.
Probably the best game that we've picked so far, so that's nice to see. Army,
they don't get much better until about 4 more picks.
Army's a very intriguing team because they're switching it up on the offensive side of the ball, and you're seeing more of a passing game. And Josh Lingenfelter's, I think, one of the best blocking tight ends in the country. They actually, Isaiah Alston went nuclear last week. He's been an NFL potential player. Who knows what's going to happen because he plays at an academy, but he's one of the most underappreciated players in the country. And I know I'm gushing over Army right now, but yeah, I'm picking UTSA. Rashad Wisdom's also one. Alston and Wisdom, for very different reasons, are 2 of the most I don't know. They're 2 kids with really good and different stories that should be looked into more. Frank Harris has also struggled. I think it's a lot because Stein went off to Oregon. Yeah, I think that's a big issue why Frank's struggling, and that scares me. But
I just benched Frank Harris in my fantasy league because he's
cost me. I don't blame you. It's been bad, and I think the subtraction of Zachary Franklin was vastly overblown because Joshua Cephas, DeCorian Clark do more than make up for it. DeCorian Clark's on my fantasy team too.
I got Joshua Cephas.
Yeah. All right, so we know all about Meat Nation. I've been a UTSA guy for a long time. If we're going to do the college game day thing, I had a UTSA shirt in 2012 or something. So give me the Roadrunners.
All right, Josh.
Absolutely great pick. I'm also picking the Roadrunners. Meat, man.
Yep.
Meat.
So I'm gonna I say this every time I take UTSA. I run the Sideline Sports UTSA page. So for that reason alone, I'm gonna pick UTSA.
Oh,
Connor.
Weird.
Yeah, give me the Roadrunners. If it was at Army, I'd probably take Army.
Beep, beep.
San Jose State at Toledo. Toledo's an 8.5-point favorite.
Good game, good game. We're also picking this one, so legit. Of the 10 that we pick, actually a good game. I feel bad for talking so in depth about this, about each pick, so I'm going to keep this one short. Toledo, Daquan Finn, one of the best shows in the group of 5. Quinion Mitchell at corner. Man, Dan Mullen recruited him at Florida, missed on him, went to Toledo. He's going to be an NFL corner someday.
Josh?
All right. Give me the Rockets, man. I'll take Toledo.
So, Chevin Cordero is a real deal. That kid can flat out ball for San Jose State. If he had a defense, they might be 2-1 right now. But I'm going to take Toledo because they actually play defense in the MAC.
It's tough.
So yeah, give me the Rockets. Connor, who you're taking?
Yeah, give me the Rockets. I think is that our first clean sweep?
No,
we just didn't beat.
All right, so
Toledo should beat Illinois too.
Yeah, Louisiana at UAB. UAB is a 2.5-point favorite.
Yeah, I don't want to pick this game. I just don't. I just during the Old Dominion Lake pick, I talked about the demise of ULL. The Raging Cajuns empire is literally collapsing. Like one of the Targaryen dragons is just going over some Game of Thrones city and just decimating it. Wow, why are we picking this game? Speaking of the Targaryens, too, fire breathers only with UAB and their brand is #fire breathers only. I don't want to pick this game. I just don't. I don't know if ULL running back Draylon Washington is playing. He's one of the most underrated running backs in the country. Huge fan of his. He is banged up, so he didn't play last week. If he's playing, I would take them. If he's not, I'd take UAB. I'm just going to take ULL, though.
Okay.
Sorry.
Oh, that didn't taste good, did it?
No, this game reeks, dude.
Oh, yep. You know what? Give me UAB. Give me them Blazers. I'm going to take them just because they're favorites.
Yep, I'm going to take the Fighting Trent Dilfers because they got him as his head coach. For that reason alone, give me UAB.
I'm giving Blazin. Give me UAB.
All right.
Are you?
James Madison at Troy. Troy's a 3-point favorite at home. Troy is also the defending Sun Belt champs, taking on James Madison, who I believe is still on postseason ban.
Yes.
Yep.
Terrible. The worst school. If you guys want me to fire off on the NCAA and stuff, this stuff never made sense. I was pretty high on James Madison entering last season and saw them as a legit 6-7 win team. They even exceeded my expectations, and I was higher on them than just about any other analyst or fan in the country. I'm low on Troy this year. I already was. Seeing what they've done these first 2 weeks has made me even lower on them because the identity of this program is they love just being stingy and tough on defense. They gave up 30, I believe, to Stephen F. Austin, who's known for their offense at the FCS level, but then they got smoked by Kansas State. And what I saw during that game was a whole lot of explosive plays and chunks for large gains. That's not good for Troy because Troy's a team that wants to play low-scoring games or they're like a Big Ten West game where they're winning 20-13 and they're winning close one-possession games. If Troy's defense is regressing and taking a step back, they're not going to be at the top of the Sun Belt, and people are overrating them right now. So you could give me James Madison and a team that has a good vertical passing game.
Josh.
Excellent. I'm also taking James Madison. Man, I've got their defense for my fantasy team, and we're just gonna roll with it.
All right, I'm taking JMU as well.
That 35 to UAB or UVA.
Yeah.
Yeah, that hurt.
Yeah. I'm taking JMU as well. But this is the first time in a while that we haven't been able to use this saying. Normally on this show, we say only trust the Trojan. if it's from Troy, because you can never trust one from USC because they always burst on you. So yeah, give me JMU.
I honestly, if JMU had lost to UV, I probably wouldn't pick them. Still scares me a little bit. Their defense gave that many points to UVA team that's really not that good. Even though they seem to have actually found their quarterback now that Tony Muskett was taken out in that game. But I'll still take James Madison.
All right. Pittsburgh at West Virginia. The backyard brawl returns. Pitt is a 1-point favorite.
This game should just always be played every year, no matter what.
It should. So we picked this game today, and I was gonna pick Pitt, and then I said I put like Pitt West Virginia on a random wheel with like I think 10 slots each, and I spun it and it landed on West Virginia. And I was really disappointed that it landed on West Virginia, but I would have been disappointed if it landed on Pitt too. So I'm stuck picking West Virginia here.
It's an absolute mid-off between
these
two.
It is. I like to have to hype up a player. Pitt's MJ Devonshire is a stud at corner, and any chance I get to talk about Aliquippa, Pennsylvania, I take the opportunity to for absolutely no reason. Aliquippa puts out some absolute dogs. Dude, you look at the Aliquippa, the NFL pipeline, they've got some legit stuff. Darrell Revis, Aliquippa, the Pitt to NFL. Devonshire is going to do the same thing. It's going to be fun to see.
Yeah,
Josh.
Yeah.
I took West Virginia. So.
Yeah, he took West Virginia. Give me Pittsburgh. I'll take Pittsburgh. I like the Panthers here.
So Pitt just played Cincinnati. And for you guys that don't follow Cincinnati anymore, Cincinnati is in a bad spot because they lost pretty much everyone from the team that made them good.
Yeah.
And Pitt did not look good in that game. The Fighting Phil Dracovics, former Notre Dame backup quarterback, I am sorry, but you're going to go 0-2. So lose 2 straight in West Virginia. So give me Country Roads, take me home.
Give me the Fighting Judah Prices. He is a running back for West Virginia who, when I was at the station in West Virginia that I was at, he led his high school to an undefeated state championship last year, set the state record for most rushing yards in the season and touchdowns in a season and in a career. He was an absolute beast. Dude's built like a tank. He's not even 5'10". He's like 5'9", but he's like 200 pounds. He's just a tank of a player. So yeah, give me West Virginia. Neil Brown, if he loses this game, I think he'll be gone within 3 weeks. Honestly,
I would have fired him last year. I would have fired. I said I forget what game it was early on in the season though. I would have canned them. And it's like I actually like pieces on West Virginia. Like the offensive line has at least TJ Donaldson, the tight end to running back switch is a fascinating Syracuse Purdue.
I was about to ask who did West Virginia lose to, but then I remembered it was Penn State that they lost to.
So Syracuse at Purdue. The Cuse are a 2.5-point favorite. This game's on NBC. It's so odd to watch anything but Notre Dame football.
Yeah, it is weird.
Wait, is Notre Dame on the road again?
Huh? No, they're at home, but they're on Peacock. Where they pushed us to Peacock.
Love that. I'm not watching a Peacock game this season. I'll just watch it on the legal stream. Legal. Syracuse, though. I love Arondé Gadsden in the second. He is a wide receiver, by the way. He's not a tight end. I hate that. I don't care what fantasy leagues say. NFL draft analysts say that Syracuse website says that man is a wide receiver.
Yep. I like the juice here. Give me the Cuse.
Yeah, so Purdue's at home. It's a night game. Purdue night games are just different. So give me the Boilermakers. Boiler up, hammer down.
After seeing Purdue play VT, they can't really they weren't defending the pass very well. They actually made, despite Graham Wells actually looked somewhat okay against them at times, but he was still doing his Graham Wells thing and throwing high heaters to his wide receivers 10 feet over their heads, as he loves to do. So, but I think I do agree with Ryan. It's Purdue night games. That's kind of like you never want to bet against ASU night games, Pac-12 after dark as well. So now, I mean, actually, but also if they were ranked, if Syracuse was somehow ranked, then I would probably.
All right.
But yeah, I'll take Purdue.
All right. BYU at Arkansas. Arkansas is an 8.5-point favorite at home.
I don't think that Rocket Sanders is going to play in this game again. That's a massive miss for Arkansas. So when we were picking this game kind of on the fly, I was like, hey, you know what? Everyone's probably going to pick Arkansas. Let me just take BYU. Chase Roberts. We talked about Perry Ellis like 6 hours ago on this podcast. Chase Roberts at receiver, you're going to see him in like 2025 and be like, hey, this is like Perry Ellis. He's been playing wide receiver at BYU since I literally came out the womb. They also have a stud at cornerback, Jacob Robinson, that leads a very good cornerback trio that BYU
They also brought
has.
back, was it Cody Epps? That was their one.
Yeah. Like BYU has a very underrated team, I think, that has underachieved through 2 weeks. 14-0 against Sam Houston doesn't make any sense, much like Sam Houston's faculty emphasizing you have to call Sam Houston, not Sam Houston State, but our abbreviation is SHSU. That doesn't make any sense. It's not going to make sense to a lot of people when BYU wins this game by 8+. Yeah, give me 8+. Huge change on the spread.
Well, yeah, that's crazy. Rocket Sanders is out for this game. That definitely hurts the Razorbacks, but I mean, somebody's got to win an out-of-conference game in the SEC. Why not Arkansas? give me the Razorbacks.
Well, Ole Miss did it. Ole Miss did it.
Ole Miss. I'm sorry.
Vanderbilt.
Vanderbilt. No, Vanderbilt. Yeah, Vanderbilt did. Then you've got Tennessee, and then you've got Auburn did.
All right.
And Mississippi State.
So I'm gonna go Woe Pig Suey on this one. KJ Jefferson has been one of my favorite players in college football the last 2 years. Give me the fighting KJ Jeffersons. He's one of the most underrated quarterbacks in college football.
We're on the complete flip side there. I think he's one of the most overrated. Flip side. So I guess he's just straight up in the middle then.
Yeah.
I love Andrew Armstrong though.
My college football fantasy team, and I was contemplating not starting him this week. Drake May is my other starter, and the first 2 weeks with Drake May has not been the best. But I will take. I'll go with Liam. I'll take BYU. I'll trust Liam on that.
You know what's hilarious? The guy in our fantasy
you don't want
league.
to trust me on that one.
There was a guy in our fantasy league, Liam, that got Caleb Williams and Marvin Harrison Jr. and fantasy, and he's 0-2.
Good for him.
Because Marvin Harrison did nothing in the first game. He had 2 catches for no.
Look, all I'm gonna say is very low key. Marvin Harrison Jr. really should have transferred to SC because that was legit cooking, and he decides, you know what? Let me stick it out.
See, I'm going to be straight honest. I was not following any of the transfers.
How many receivers do they need at SC?
I didn't know.
They got Dorian. Wait, hold on. How many receivers does SC need?
They're like 26 deep at receivers.
All right, TCU at Houston. TCU. I don't know why I would put this, but TCU is a 7.5-point favorite.
Yeah, I don't like either of these teams. I really don't like either of these teams. I hate that we're picking this too, and I'm picking another underdog. I'm taking Houston here, but I don't like anything I've seen from them. Yeah, I know. And I'm someone that kind of believes in Rice this year to be a little bit better than people expected. I like Marcus Tuiasosopo a lot as their OC. I just hate this TCU team too. Like, I don't think there's many redeeming qualities at all, especially at the quarterback position. Chandler Morris was once seen as the prince that was promised, and He gave his crown away real quick. Will never find it.
Dude,
If
it's
he's
like
watching this, sorry.
it almost makes me wonder for TCU fans last year if it was a blessing in disguise that Chandler Morris got hurt, and Max Duggan got to lead that team.
It was. That would have been a 7-win team.
Yeah. So go ahead.
Oh, wait,
Josh,
Duggan was the backup going into last year?
Yeah, you didn't.
I didn't know that. Jeez.
Yeah.
They had in that quarterback room, they had Chandler Morris, who started the year, who I was like, oh, okay. Like, I'm seeing a lot of TCU people say great things about him. I'm buying in. You had Max Duggan, of course, and then you also had Sam Jackson, who's at Cal now. They had a pretty solid quarterback room.
I didn't realize just how much Max Duggan and Quentin Johnson carried that team last year. Like,
And Garrett Riley cooking good stuff up, and Kendre Miller was arguably the most underrated running back in the country until TCU's hype got out of control.
Miller's still there?
No, he's with the Saints.
Oh, yeah.
So,
Josh.
I'm going to go with an underdog here. They came out with those Oilers jerseys to start the season out. Looked really good. Give me Houston.
I'm going to take TCU. here. I think after they lost to Colorado, their star linebacker came out and said, basically called out his entire team and said, we're an absolute joke, and we're the laughing stock of college football. We just lost to a 1-11 Colorado team. And people aren't going to take us serious. So for that reason, I think they're going to come into this game pissed off. I think they're going to come and they're going to, handle their business against Houston.
Dana's coaching for his job, by the way.
Yes.
We'll talk about hot seat.
So give me the Horned Frogs. Give me the Horned Frogs. The Horny Frogs.
I will take TCU. I did not like how Houston fell behind. I think it was 28-0 to Rice. They came back and made it a game. It was like 28-21. But I'm not someone who's going to give them that much credit for that and be like, oh, look at that, because you fell behind by a big amount, right? And they just took their foot and Rice just took their foot off the gas. That's the reason why they were allowed to come back in. So give me TCU.
I still think it is impressive to an extent, though, that they were able to come back from that deficit, force overtime. Like,
did they get to overtime? I didn't realize that.
If I'm not mistaken, double.
Oh, okay.
All right. Next up, we got Fresno State at Arizona State. Fresno's only a 3-point favorite. Night game in Tempe.
I'll be quick here. Fresno State's over-under entering the season of 8.5 was way too high. They lost way too much to warrant that. I think that there is another mediocre team in this conference. So back the pack. Give me ASU. Fresno State could easily be 0-2 as well.
I actually, you know what? I'm going to be a believer here. Give me Fresno State. It's a night game too. Well, yeah, it is. Yeah, give me Fresno State.
Give me Fresno. Arizona State is in a really bad spot right now. They kind of remind me of that 1-11 Arizona team from a few years back that also lost to Southern Utah. Or not, so they lost to Northern Arizona. My bad. Arizona State.
Quarterback at Arizona State.
Jalen Rashada. Yeah.
The Florida
$13 million quarterback from
ASU's like low key. They have some fun players on offense. Yeah. They're not low key good. Low key, a bit fun to watch. Cameron Scadaboo is one of the most exciting players in at running back to watch out west. Like, he's just tough as nails. I believe Jerome Bettis is on the Cameron Scadaboo hype train and has been since
they're just
State.
Arizona State's got a lot of young talent. They don't have the experience, and they need time to kind of get gelled together.
Yeah, they have to mash so many new pieces.
So I'm going with Josh on this one. Give me Fresno.
It's an ASU night game. I mentioned that before. That's something there. It doesn't matter. They're unlike Purdue, where they have to be ranked in the top 10 to really gain that power. It doesn't really matter. ASU, give me ASU.
All right. Northwestern at number 21, Duke. Duke is an 18.5 point favorite.
No.
We have to pick this game?
Yes, we do.
Just say it.
By the end of this game.
We don't have to talk about this one. Just say it.
By the end of this game, how much hazing do you think happens?
Duke.
Yeah,
Right.
I think
You taking Duke and the points too?
I'm taking. Look, I didn't want to talk much about this, but Duke, y'all have not seen. Nobody has seen what this team is capable of. The performance against Clemson, Duke played a subpar game on offense. You did not see their offense on full display. They had nothing in the vertical passing game. That's going to be a key component all season long. I've been Riley Leonard QB3 2024 NFL Draft hype train since last November. Duke's going to smoke this Northwestern team. Duke's still going to make the ACC championship. I'm going to look pretty smart for saying that in August.
all right, good
Gosh.
stuff. Give me puke.
Give me
Take 'em.
Duke. Give me the Dukies.
I'm glad that Virginia Tech does not have to play Duke, and I'm actually almost more happy that they have to play Clemson this year because of this.
You guys
Yeah,
might
give me
have a
Duke.
legit shot.
Maybe.
Nah.
Maybe.
Number 19 Oklahoma at Tulsa.
Dude,
Oklahoma.
Dude.
Oklahoma.
Dude, Oklahoma. Come on.
The only reason I put this on here was because Tulsa's actually a low-key good team, and they almost upset Ole Miss last year.
I think this Tulsa team stinks.
Yep.
So are we all just taking Oklahoma?
We're all taking
Oklahoma.
Oklahoma. We're all taking Oklahoma.
Colorado State
I'm
at
not-
number 18, Colorado.
If I'm not mistaken,
Is
we
it a
do a
bigger point spread?
Oh my gosh. If I'm not mistaken, so we do a stinkers draft where we draft the worst teams and we do like 5 rounds. I think I took Tulsa in the 5th round for my team. Colorado here. Where are we doing?
Real quick, what were your 5 teams?
I could look that up and get it to you.
Colorado?
Okay.
Look, I forgot.
Alright.
I took
Yeah.
I took Kent State 2nd overall, and I had the number 1 talent on the board. I was so happy.
Are we all taking Colorado here?
I'm taking
Yeah.
Colorado.
All right.
Yeah.
We're all taking Colorado.
All right. Georgia Tech at number 17, Ole Miss.
Ole Miss.
Ole Miss.
Ole Miss.
Ole Miss.
All right.
Yeah, why do you
San Diego State at number 16, Oregon State. Oregon State.
Oregon
at
State.
24.5.
Oregon
State.
State, one of the best offensive lines in the country. People need to
Ryan,
write
why
their
do you have so
apologies to
many
DJ
games
UI
there?
Ungalele. I'm going to tell you
What do
something.
you mean, Connor?
Back
This is
up.
a good game.
Back up, it's not a good game.
Look at the
San
points
Diego
spread.
State. San Diego State is not that
How many
good.
times
Oregon
has San Diego
is
State
elite.
upset a Pac-12 team, Connor?
But San Diego State is not as good as they have been in years past at all. Look, Oregon State, it's actually his birthday today on the 12th, but backup quarterback, true freshman, Aiden Childs is going to be one of the stars of this sport. So look out for him to even just playing garbage time, which he already has. He's thrown for touchdowns. He's going to be an NFL starting quarterback when it's all said and done. And I don't care if he's playing for Oregon State next season or he's playing somewhere else because of the conference realignment and he transfers up. Aiden Childs, you remember that name? You tweet it out right now and act like you've been on the hype train as long as I have and just say he's an elite quarterback. And you're
so
gonna look real
my thing
smart.
is, real quick,
That's
Connor,
good.
is you guys will give me shit for this, but this is why we love college football, because we'll all sit here and say Oregon State is going to win comfortably against San Diego State. But guess what? San Diego State is one of those teams that consistently upsets teams all the time. All right, so we're all taking Oregon State, though.
Yes.
Number 15, Kansas State at Missouri.
Finally.
Kansas State is a 5.5-point favorite on the road.
They are. I don't get that number at all. This Missouri team has been unbelievably unimpressive. Kansas State's going to win this game handedly by double digits. They're going to manhandle them in every facet of the sport. I don't know how Drinkwitz – he must be brainwashing dudes, brainwashing recruits into committing. It's unbelievable what he's able to do. I also think Drinkwitz wrote his own death sentence for this matchup. Maybe death sentence was the wrong word to use, but when he just went out there in a presser day and acted like he doesn't know who Kansas State legend Colin Klein is, what a mistake. What an idiotic thing to say. He's going to get smoked in this game.
Mm-hmm.
Who you got, Josh?
Yeah, I'm not too high on the Tigers here. Give me Kansas State.
Go Tigers. Go Tigers. No, wrong Tigers. Give me Kansas State.
Give me the fighting Will Howards.
All right, number 14 LSU on the road at Mississippi State. I'm actually wrong. Mississippi State is undefeated. LSU is a 9.5-point favorite. I think this is a sneaky game that could very easily turn into an upset.
I'm kind of disappointed because I want like another snoozer game so I could tell you my undefeated, my stinker draft. But I've got to focus on this.
We'll probably get there soon. When we get to BT, we'll get to it.
I have to focus on this game because coming into the season, we do our thing like, oh, most surprising team, who's going to be the most disappointing. LSU was my most disappointing team. I think that this is an 8-9 win team. I'm predicting them to start 1-2. I'm obviously, if I said that in August, why would I not continue to say that a month later in September? Mississippi State will continue to be underrated and just a good, solid program. The defense is going to be really good under Arnett, and Will Rogers will consistently be one of the best producing quarterbacks in the country, no matter what ESPN or Fox doesn't say about him. Will Rogers is a stud. Mississippi State upset. If they win this game, I want 2 points for this win.
Liam,
give them 2 points if they win.
Yeah,
this.
let me double up.
Yeah, Liam, you are the best. You are my favorite guest we've had on this show ever because I hate LSU as a Notre Dame fan for various reasons. Get on Brian, for very obvious reasons. And I've been telling people for the last year that LSU is frauds. So thank you. Josh, who are you taking?
Deserve this day. Go ahead and say it, Ed. Go Tigers. You don't care.
That's
Go Tigers. Go Tigers. Go Tigers. Go Tigers.
Turn that off. Not anymore. All right. Yep. Give me LSU for this one. I'm not on the Mississippi State hype train. I'm just not.
Nobody is.
Look, man. Okay.
This is the fade LSU
I'm sorry.
luxury plane.
No. Neither Mississippi school is as good as everyone thinks they are. I'm sorry.
All right. So, Josh, I'm going to do it. Give me the Bulldogs of Mississippi State, man. I think LSU showed what kind of team they are against Florida State. Now, Florida State's really damn good, but LSU is going in their first test since Florida State on the road. Got the cowbells ringing. Give me the Bulldogs, man. Mississippi State is also one of those teams that always gets a big upset over Alabama or LSU every year.
I was so prepared for. I was so prepared for you to get like a more cowbell sound bite in there.
Yeah, I need.
No, we do not have. We need to put more cowbells on here.
All right, Connor. Connor's like, man, what do I do?
Yeah, I know. I'm really thinking.
You want to take the cowbells.
I kind of do.
Do it for Mike Leach.
I kind of do, but
the Pirate, man. Go for it.
Me in the ass, and LSU is just going to stomp them for no reason all of a sudden. I'll take Mississippi State.
Okay.
All right. Yes.
I'm alone. That's fine.
All right.
Well, we'll see what.
Well,
Lucas
you're
said.
not alone because could you imagine like having to leave early and then you have to write in 30-ish picks?
Number 11.
He was already on his way doing it.
Okay. Number 11, Tennessee at Florida. Tennessee's only a 7-point favorite.
We got me on for like the worst slate of the season.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah,
we're gonna have you back on.
You do.
We're gonna have you back on.
This is an interesting one.
So, 2, when a slate is very underwhelming, you have to expect the unexpected. When those murky waters are going around the sport, and then the Jaws music starts to cue up, and you're mad confused why that thing is echoing in the distance, and then it just starts to get louder and louder, and then you realize, for zero reason, Florida's leading Tennessee in the fourth quarter, and you turn the game on frantically, and you're like, oh, wait, hold up. Something's cooking that I wasn't expecting, and something stinks here. Tennessee's only a 6.5, 7-point favorite. Stinks out loud, because this is a Tennessee team that is highly regarded to. We're lower on them than consensus because we're right. Florida also just stinks. Florida's a terrible team. Don't get me wrong.
They got the good old Graham Mertz as their starting quarterback.
Yeah, I look. I'm already on record as saying, ain't no way I'm picking Graham Mertz to ever win a game. But guess what? I'm picking a desperate Gators team. Absolutely desperate. Napier's already coaching for his job. As pathetic as that is, he's already coaching for his job. Florida has to win this game, and they're going to win this game, and they're going to stink the rest of the season anyway. So.
I like it.
Get Tennessee out your polls after this one.
I like it.
I got this one. So, fun fact. How many times has Tennessee won in the Swamp in the last 20 years?
You're going to guess never?
Never.
Once? Yeah,
not once. Not a one time in the last 20 years.
Wasn't the closest they came was when they had Josh Dobbs and Florida beat them with Tyree Cleveland at the Hail Mary in the back of the end zone?
Yep.
Was it? Yep.
It was
that.
Yep. So, here we are again. Oh, not this again. Yes, this again. Florida fans are supremely confident that they're going to win this game. Now, that actually lowers my confidence because Florida fans are not right most of the time. But if I know one thing, being a Kentucky fan and having a losing streak against Florida, that alone will cause you to lose the game. Mental errors, little stuff like that. It's extra weight on you that you don't need. I'm going to take the Gators to win this game. Absolutely. I will never do that. But I will take the Gators to win this game.
Give me that Gator.
All right.
Stay off the weed.
So let me tell you guys something.
Jazz music.
You guys have been smoking too much of that good. Okay. Never trust Graham Mertz in a college football game. Now, if you want to go golf, Graham Mertz is your guy.
Hold on. I got one more
Sam
thing to say.
Wixels is my golfer. Best golfer on the Ohio Bobcats.
Hey, I got one more thing to say. Graham Mertz in a hurry-up style offense just means more incompletions.
But my reason for this is, Tennessee is just a better team. I know it's at Florida, it's at the Swamp, but that Gator team is just a mess, man.
Yep.
Like, if anything, they're going to beat themselves like they did against Utah. They will. I bet you they'll have a penalty that will make no sense to anyone. At the
full-time special teams coach.
Try and tie the game.
They'll have like 2 number 3s on the field for some reason. That's what Florida will do. Speaking of which, Florida fans still blame the shoe throw against LSU in 2019 for why their team is sucked and now cursed because of the shoe.
Because they probably would have been in the playoffs. They were like,
yeah. So yeah, give me to the Volunteers. I think they blow out Florida.
I have to take Florida only because of what I said earlier about my overreaction to the poll.
Me and Lucas also have Tennessee going 12-0. So I mean,
no.
Yeah, exactly. I had to deal with that.
Me and Lucas in our preseason rankings, we had Tennessee ending the season as the number 1 team in the country, winning the SEC.
No.
So yeah,
playing that NCAA 14 read, man.
You can't stay off the weed.
I have to take Florida because of what I said about Tennessee being not actually as good as we thought. So yeah.
All right, number 8, Washington at Michigan State. Washington's
sick! I can tell you guys about the stinkers draft. So I got Kent State, Nevada. I got Kent State, Nevada, UL Monroe, Virginia, and Tulsa as my 5. I think I'm gonna win this thing.
Tulsa's a good.
Did anyone have VT in there?
Let's see. Nobody took Virginia Tech, which I do think was a mistake.
Hey, Washington, like real quick with this game, I think I know why they put it on Peacock exclusively because this game is going to be an absolute bloodbath.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah,
hold on. Is Mel Tucker suspended?
Yeah, he is.
He ain't coaching this game. He's not coaching. He's not coaching a game for Michigan State again, and possibly not coaching a game at the FBS level again because you've seen.
Yeah.
Not only the off the field stuff, and he's just not a good coach.
He's
so
just not
the best
coach.
combo.
I think that's a little more disqualifying.
Yeah, Washington
honestly,
Washington's going to smoke this team. I have Washington making the playoff, and I have to stand by that, even though the Pac-12 probably will cannibalize itself. I love this Washington team. I think too why I like Washington more than SC is because I trust Washington's defense more, and I don't really like people going out there and not trusting the Washington defense. They have 2 high-caliber edge rushers, and Braylon Trice is going to be a first-round pick, and CTF, and again, they would have a third if Zach Durfee was ruled eligible. Devon Banks is also a legit CB1 breakout candidate that they did not have a CB1 last year. They have it now. He's come to the scene. He's arrived. I like this Washington team a ton.
Give me Washington. I'm taking Washington just outright. They're going to beat them worse than the points. It's not going to be.
This game was close last year in Washington, but that was last year. This is this year. Michigan State, especially with all the stuff going on off the field, this is a game where I told Phil, our boy over at Maze Madman, Lil Bronham might want to quit football after this game. Like, they might just want to scrap the entire football program and just stick to basketball, because this game, they're lucky it's on Peacock, so people will have to actually pay to watch this beatdown. But Washington, I would not be surprised if they dropped 70 points on Michigan State. Like, this is going to get ugly.
I think this is just going to prove how much Kenneth Walker just carried Michigan State 2 years ago.
Oh, for sure.
So yeah, give me UW.
I have Washington. We did an undefeated draft as well. I have Washington in that as well. So that's I have Alabama though that I'm looking at right now. So yikes. I also have Penn State though. So just pencil me in for Penn State. I picked Drew Aller to win the Heisman. That's not happening. It's not happening because Penix and Caleb exist, and so many other good quarterbacks exist that are going to produce more. But I do have Penn State as number 1 team in the country right now. I do have them winning the national championship.
Number 7 Penn State is easy for you. So you're going Penn State. All right, Josh, who you going?
I'm taking Penn State. Illinois is just going to get – they're going to get drug up and down the field. It's not going to be fun for them. Give me the Nittany Lions, man. It's going to be more than 14.5.
I didn't realize just how much Chase Brown carried this Illinois team last year.
Baby.
Yeah, I mean, Chase Brown, he's a GOAT. But yeah, give me the Nittany Lions. I'm surprised they're only favored by 14.5.
Yeah, that's weird.
Yeah,
give me Penn State.
I think it's more so because the market isn't valuing Penn State as they should, and they're I don't know, they're valuing Illinois too much for years past.
So Western Kentucky at number 6, Ohio State. Ohio State's a 27.5 point favorite. Now, I put this on here because interestingly enough, I think Western Kentucky legitimately has a shot to pull off an upset in the horseshoe because of their offense. Their offense will score and can score on anybody in the country. Ohio State's offense, with how lackluster they have been the first 2 weeks, if they play like they did against Indiana, against Western Kentucky will beat Ohio State.
You're not insane for saying that. As you said that a month ago, you'd be checked into a psych ward. Yeah. I think we all know that. I'm someone that has Western Kentucky coming into the season, best offense in the group of 5, making the NY6 as the group of 5 rep. Like, I'm very high on this team. I have them going 11-1, with this being the lone loss. But there's no shortage of talent on this roster, and the defense doesn't get much respect. Upton Stout, a tremendous cornerback. Jaquez Donut Evans, nobody talks about him. Linebacker, edge rusher. does it all, incredible future NFL player. And then you have the Austin Reed to Malachi Corley connection. Thank goodness Corley wasn't hurt bad, because if he was hurt bad and was having to miss this game, I would be devastated, because not only is this like you have an opportunity for Malachi Corley, who has got an NFL draft type and significant hype coming into this season, which is so great. But this is the biggest game of his life to solidify himself, playing on the same field as Ibuka, as Marvin, as all these great players. He has a chance to solidify himself as one of the best wide receiver prospects in the country. So I hope for his sake that he goes out there and carves. I hope that this is a close game. I hope that we're insane. We're insane. But I hope that maybe Western Kentucky goes out there and makes it close, man. I'm taking Ohio State though. I hate Ohio State though. I'm very low on this.
Dude, there's a reason. There is a reason that Ohio State. This is the lowest they've been favored in a game.
Yeah, my brother's a diehard Ohio State fan. I'm pretty much forced into watching every game. They were struggling. I'm wearing a Youngstown State shirt right now as well. They were struggling with my Penguins. They're struggling with Indiana. Ryan Day is a joke. He's one of the.
Let me ask you. Do you how much of a legit shot do you give Western Kentucky to pull off the upset?
I think the unfortunate thing here is talent wins out. So I would say it's under, I don't know, 8.5%. I think it would take an A++ effort for Western Kentucky to win this game, and Ohio State would just. The good thing is Ohio State could shoot themselves in the foot, because Ryan Day's a straight up idiot, and he's going to get canned after he loses to Michigan this season. And Ohio State, y'all aren't ready for this. People are not ready for this. Ohio State's going to give Deion however much money he wants. Now you have Deion Sanders coaching at Ohio State. He's never going to lose out on any recruit that he wants. So Ohio State's going to be an absolute dynasty in the future after they get Deion Sanders. Ryan Day is an absolute joke, though.
Is that going to be after this year? Or is that gonna be
after Ohio State loses to Michigan this season, they're going to be done with Ryan Day. There's no reason to keep him around. You can't beat Michigan. If you can't beat Michigan, why are you going
to? Phil, our buddy Phil, he's taking Western Kentucky by all the points. So
we saw that.
My
gosh, that's perfect.
He's literally Shiv from Succession. He is an absolute I don't like him as a coach. I don't really like him as he comes off as a person.
Liam, do you think that Ohio State could also be sleepwalking into this game, looking ahead to Notre Dame?
Because they have Notre Dame on deck, which they're going to lose to Notre Dame. Ryan Day also, I don't know if you guys have noticed, his entire Ohio State tenure, every press conference, he fires off one of the most ridiculous quotes that you'll ever see. He's just not very smart. We're talking about a guy who a week ago said, we need to find creative ways to get Marvin Harrison Jr. the ball. That's a major red flag. If you have to find ways to get creative to get the best player in the country the ball, the second best player in the country the ball,
that's a bad thing.
It's not good, and his offense is a joke. Whenever Devin Brown checks into the game, thank goodness he made a good decision, by the way, naming Kyle McCord the pure starter here and not waltzing, which should have been done from the get-go.
Could you imagine waltzing into Notre Dame? Could you imagine waltzing into Notre Dame Stadium and you still don't have a solidified starter?
And I hate even doing it for this game. It should have been the Youngstown State game that you figure it out. You should figure it out before the season. I hate these open quarterback battles. I did the same thing for UCLA. It was an absolute joke that they tried Garbers out there like he was going to be better than Dante Moore. It was never going to happen.
If Garbers would have been out there a little longer, you guys might have messed around and lost to Coastal Carolina.
They would have, but the good thing is that UCLA's pass rush just overwhelmed an inferior Coastal offensive line. I'm not a Ryan Day guy. My brother's not either, and he's an Ohio State diehard. Ohio State fans are fed up with this dude and the clown that he is. In the recruiting game, he's overrated. He doesn't get his own recruits. He relies on Heartline friends.
He doesn't recruit. The only reason he gets recruits is because it's Ohio State. That's the
and Heartline's doing a lot of good work for him, getting elite receivers. Kyle McCord's been his guy too. That's why he didn't go out and upgrade in the transfer portal, because McCord was a Ryan Day recruit. This is his guy. It's never been a secret that McCord was going to win the job. He was never going to give Devin Brown a fair shot. I still think Devin Brown kind of stinks too. Whenever Devin Brown is in, he's just running the ball, QB power stuff, and he's like the slowest guy I've ever seen at the quarterback position. That includes Carson Strong, who didn't have a literal knee when he was at Nevada in his final season. Like Ohio State right now, they have no culture. The culture is terrible too. I like seeing Ohio State be good. Like I think it's great for the sport. Ryan Day's just a joke. He's just a joke.
Josh, who you taking, man? You think the Hilltoppers get it done?
Buddy, you know I want to. But let's be honest here. Ohio State's twos would start at Western Kentucky.
Well, that's not true.
Some of them would.
Some of them would.
Okay.
Malachi Corley starting at WR3 next to Buka and Marvin. That's the best receiving trio in the country.
Oh, yeah. So you're taking
give me. I'm taking Ohio State for the win.
Taking the points.
They're not getting those points though.
They're not getting those points.
Also, Austin Reed would be starting at Ohio State.
Yeah, Austin Reed would be.
Yeah.
So
you sure would.
I so want to take Western Kentucky in this game. Before we got on stream, I actually did take Western Kentucky in the pick'ems. But I'm going to switch my pick the more I think about it, only because I want Ohio State to be undefeated going into South Bend, so that win looks a lot better for Notre Dame. And for one, so we can take a dookie all over Ohio State fans for talking so much trash to us Notre Dame fans the past 10 years. So, yeah, because I don't want them to use that excuse, well, we weren't good anyway.
Well, you know,
why do I get the feeling that like Ohio State's gonna struggle in this game and then somehow come out and just absolutely lay a big one on Notre Dame for some reason? I don't know why. I feel like that's.
Well, Phil, I like this guy. He hates Ryan Day and watches Succession.
There you go. And we got to bring. Like... I'll take Ohio State, but I'm not giving them the points. And Liam, before we got a few more pick'ems, but we definitely need to get you back here for a better week of games.
Yes, sir.
Oh yeah, I promise. I'll try not to take like as long as I do on these picks and stuff.
Well, that's also our own fault for taking so long to other topics.
Wyoming
you're good.
At number 4, Texas. Texas is 20.
First off, I feel bad for Mays Madman because like I spoke the Deion Sanders Ohio State thing into existence, so I feel bad there. But that's good.
If you missed that, he said that Deion's going there.
Or they're just going to get fickle and be really good. But Deion Ohio State, I think, is going to happen. Texas here, but again, as we talked about 4 days ago, Texas is back, and then losing to Wyoming is just funny. But
but you're still taking Texas.
Yeah, I'm not an idiot.
Yeah, I'm taking Texas as well.
All right, I'm taking Texas too. I think it would be hilarious though if they lost to Wyoming.
Oh,
rooting for
Wyoming. If Wyoming beats Texas, I think they can safely say they're the best team in the state of Texas.
No, they're the Big 12 champs.
They're the Big 12 champs.
The Big 12.
Yeah, give me Texas.
South Carolina at number 1, Georgia. This is Georgia's first test of the year, kind of.
Yeah.
Is it a test? Because their front seven's going to make South Carolina's offensive line wish that they were at home watching Friends or something.
Rattler's going to be – he's going to be thrown into the dirt. They're going to bury him.
Yeah, in some way, I actually feel bad for Rattler, even though he's come off as such a jerk in years past. I actually do genuinely feel bad for him because his offensive line is messing with his money right now. He's still completing at such an accurate rate. And Antoine Juice is one of the best. Yeah,
93% last week.
Yeah, like he's doing his thing. His offensive line isn't helping him. Antoine Wells Jr. has been plagued with injuries too, which stinks. Because I see him as an NFL guy since he was at JMU. I love DQ Smith. Did a dope interview with him that I wrote a feature for in our preview magazine. Is a safety there. He's going to be their next great DB. At Georgia, also unimpressive so far. Figure it out. Just figure it out.
Josh?
Yeah. I'm taking Georgia in this one. Give me the dogs. That Rattler's going to be running for his life. It's not looking good for a South. It's not looking good for an upset here. So give me Georgia.
Yeah, Rattler might get killed in this game. Like he actually might get injured in this game.
Over under 7 sacks.
Yeah, I'm hammering that over.
Lord. If North Carolina can get 9, I guess.
Give me. I'm taking 10 if that was the over under. I'd take 10.
No.
I'd take over 10.
So I'm taking Georgia. Connor, you taking Georgia? All right. Akron and Kentucky.
Oh, we always do. No. We always do our own teams.
All right, yeah,
I figured that was on the way. Turnover tire, love it. Should have lost to Morgan State last week. Oh man, Morgan State should have wins over Richmond and Akron. I'm taking Kentucky here. Shocker.
Do they cover though?
Yeah, by them not touching that game with no. I want to bet that game, no, but yeah, they'll cover. And yeah, sure.
I'll take, believe it or not, I'll take Akron in the points because Kentucky can never cover, and if they do, it's by the skin of their teeth.
Ball State.
Yeah,
they covered. It was a bad beat.
They were like 6 of 10 against the spread. Their last 10 games.
I'm taking
cover.
I'm taking Kentucky. Connor.
Kentucky.
Yeah.
Yeah, Kentucky's gonna sleepwalk through the first half again.
They'll be up by 3 at halftime, and Josh will be like,
No. They might even be tied or down at halftime. Who knows?
Kentucky wins this game 38-6.
It'll be tied at 6 at halftime.
It's like 6 at halftime.
Akron gets the 6 on 3 safeties.
All right.
You get 3 safeties.
Virginia Tech at Rutgers. Rutgers is a 7-point favorite. You know what's funny? Connor spoke this into existence last week when we were doing the pick'ems. He said, I wouldn't be surprised if Rutgers is favored against Virginia Tech next week.
I don't even remember saying that, but okay.
So poor Grant Wells has been dodging strays all podcast long. Yeah, kind of rightfully so. He stinks. He stunk at Marshall, and I never understood any hype that there was. I don't think he's very good at all. I actually thought Kyron Jones started the season. I was kind of excited to see what he brings to the offense, a different dimension. Yeah,
Jones didn't get the entire second half against Purdue.
You went out there, you got Ollie Jennings in the portal, was such a good addition. Daquan Felton from Norfolk State, he was the second best project at receiver in the portal. I thought Andrew Armstrong from A&M Commerce going to Arkansas was the best project to get at receiver. I love Derek Canteen too. He was one of the best corners in the country a few years ago. Virginia Tech went out and added 3 Liam guys. I have to pick him here, and I hope that Drones takes strong hold of the QB1 job and never gives it back. Or else VT's just going to stink. Wells doesn't do anything to help a team.
Well, Jennings is out.
I know he is, yeah.
I haven't heard anything about what the actual injury is other than it's just an ankle.
Yeah.
And then our other of the 3, Lane, might be out with a hamstring injury. He also suffered. So we're down bad in the wide receiver.
All right, Josh, who are you taking?
I have Ollie on my fantasy team for what it's worth.
All right.
I did know he was out.
Give me the Scarlet Knights here. I picked Virginia Tech last week. They burned me. I'm scorned. I'm taking Rutgers. Prove me wrong, BT. Prove me wrong.
I'm taking the Big Ten freshman runner-up of the year last year. Whoever the quarterback is for Rutgers, because he's actually pretty decent. Give me Rutgers. Who would have thought 3 weeks in we could sit here and say Rutgers is 3-0?
This game could have honestly maybe qualified for
$1 ticket game.
Probably.
We do that.
$1 game is the game that's the worst that we can think of.
Josh,
yeah, the FIU UConn one.
Where you could get an actual ticket for $1.
Okay, so I'll make sure to do my recap tomorrow night. But yeah, Virginia Tech can't stop the run. They couldn't stop the run against Purdue. They can't run the ball to save their goddamn lives. They literally had only 11 yards rushing last week, which is like the 5th worst since 1987. They're averaging 60 yards per game through 2 games. So that just shows, what is that? So that's terrible. And hopefully Pry not putting in drones in the second half after Wells got injured right before halftime shows a complete utter mismanagement there. And then you throw drones in on the last drive, trying to drive 80 yards to get a game-tying touchdown, and he actually makes it look good until he decides to bomb it deep on 4th and 10, 40 yards downfield for no reason. But I'll take Rutgers if Wells is starting. If Drones is starting, if it's confirmed, I'll probably switch it to VT.
Can I do that too?
Sure.
Yeah, go ahead.
I want no part of a Grant Wells-led offense.
Yeah. You'll take Rutgers for now, but if it's Drones, both me and him will switch. We'll switch to VT.
Next up, Hawaii at number 13, Oregon.
Oh, yeah.
The real question about this game isn't whether or not Oregon wins, but it's if they cover.
Oh,
Yes.
I thought you were going to say it's how many push-ups the Duck does.
Yeah, well, that too.
Yeah, I think we're on 70 watch here.
Yep. Yeah, I think so. I think that Oregon Duck is going to have some amazing pectoral muscles.
Whoever is already has that.
Dude,
After
I did. I was a
week
mascot.
one.
I was a mascot in high school. I did push-ups, and I did the score. I didn't do. Oh, we got 7. No, I did the score like you're supposed to.
That's what most teams do, though. That's what most mascots do.
Yeah. We scored 68 on this other team, and I was dying.
All right, so we're all taking Oregon, though.
Yes, we're all taking Oregon.
Let's go Ducks.
Central Michigan at number 9, Notre Dame. Notre Dame is a 34.5-point favorite.
Was?
So real quick, Liam, do the chips get fired up, and do they cream the Fighting Irish?
Dante Kent, cornerback for Central Michigan, gets fired up to play against Sam Hartman, who's going to have NFL eyes on him. Dante Kent, one of the best pass disruptors in the country when we're talking about cornerbacks. I think he puts on a solid showing. Obviously, I'm taking Notre Dame.
Do you predict he gets a pick, though? Maybe?
No, he's oddly enough, he's not really an interceptions guy. He's just straight up like his nose just is everywhere for the ball. He's super physical. He's going to be playing on Sundays, and I can't wait for other people to realize that his physicality and ability to just jar balls loose that should be catches is truly innate.
I can't wait to see Ryan get pissed in our chat when he's like, Sam Hartman can't get a damn pass right now, damn it. And it's all because of that one guy.
Sam Hartman can't what?
Sam won't even have to worry about he won't even have to worry about throwing it to him. And there is a clip of Central Michigan played LSU a few years ago, and Dante Kent got lost for a touchdown. It happens to the best of us.
All right,
can't win every rep.
Yeah, I can't. Give me the Fighting Irish here.
Give me the Fighting Irish.
I think it would be absolutely hilarious if Notre Dame and Ohio State both lost these games because they were overlooking each game because they're playing each other next week.
Or they win by less than a touchdown. They win when they give up. You know what I mean? They both score a late touchdown to take the lead.
Because that's the thing is, I've noticed since Marcus Freeman's been the head coach at Notre Dame, we have games where we play inferior comp, and the first half, our team just comes out and they play like they did against Marshall. He's like, hey, we're Notre Dame. We ain't got to try. He's a group of 5 team. And then they finally wake up. Yes.
noises.
I hate to break it to you, but on our Sunbelt preview podcast last year, there's only one person in the entire world that predicted Marshall will beat Notre Dame.
And it was you?
Yes, thank you. Thank you.
Fantastic. Good pick, sir.
All right. Next up, the Week 0 podcast team of the year pick'em, the Campbell Camels at Monmouth.
Oh, shoot,
There's no spread. Yes.
Hell yeah.
No spread till Saturday.
No spread till Saturday.
Oh, man. I feel like it'd just be really rude if I picked against the Camels. But dude, this is tough because I love both these programs on the basketball side of things. I just love watching the Monmouth bench take over, and they had some really good teams a few years after that. They have really good running back this year. Jaden Sheridan is one of the best running backs in the FCS. Hodge Malik Williams, like I said 8 hours ago, it's felt like he's been at Campbell for an eternity. I couldn't believe looking at the box score last week and seeing that Hodge Malik Williams is still there. It feels really bad to pick against the Camels. I'm taking Monmouth, though. I am so sorry. I don't know who the other candidates
get him off
were
the
for
pod.
the team of the year.
Get him off the pod.
I need to know the other candidates.
Anymore.
Who were the other candidates?
No, you're fine.
Okay, the last 2 years, last year we had who did we have last year? We had 2 years ago.
Presbyterian.
Oh my
and then
gosh.
last year was Southern Miss for
Well, the only reason, so
Year
our
before
first
Southern
Presbyterian had to be there because the coach never punts.
yeah, no, so yeah, well,
Yes, it was because
we
of that.
decided
And that's not why we picked them.
our Presbyterian was our first team of the year because they scored 10 touchdowns in their first game.
Yeah,
Like
we were
they're-
just like
they're-
kind of like
yeah.
that, so we're just like, cool,
Yeah.
take that.
So
And then they never won a game.
So who were the other teams though? Like this season that it could have
So
been
we had
instead of
Campbell. Oh God, I'm trying to think.
How's it decided too?
So we just randomly came up with funny names. So I think we had Campbell, App State.
Oh, we
think
could have had
Marshall.
App State.
We had. So no, it was Campbell, Marshall, App State.
We chose Campbell.
It was. I want to say.
I'm gonna do my
UTSA, I
pick.
think.
Guys. Hold on. I'm gonna do my pick. Yeah,
It's tails.
that was actually heads.
Okay. Well, I had a 50-50 chance.
Okay, well, since you picked wrong, I'm gonna assume you picked wrong with Monmouth. Give me the Campbell Camels.
Yeah, give me the Fighting Campbell Chunky Soups.
I'll go with Monmouth.
Yo, Connor, screw you, man.
You and Lucas. They're trying. They are.
Let's
they
ride.
Try hard.
You know what, Josh? Let's ride. Let's ride the camel.
I don't know, man. I don't know. But hold on.
You're a
No,
Broncos fan.
We went
Do not ever
Broncos
say
country right
let's
there
ride.
for a second. No.
Okay, let's move on
Roll
quickly. I need to
on.
take a shit.
Week 0 podcast game of the week.
Oh,
The
man,
Minnesota
I'm gonna need dinner.
Golden Gophers, there, bud. At the number 20 North Carolina Tar Heels.
Oh man, I kind of slandered the Big Ten West heavy earlier. It stinks too because I really like a lot of players on this Minnesota team. And I'm glad that you guys chose us for game of the week because I think that the matchup here between Minnesota's defense, secondary in particular, with Tyler Nubin and Mr. Wally, two future NFL players, is fascinating against Drake May.
I honestly looked at all the games this week, and I thought this was probably the best.
This or Southern Illinois, Southeast Missouri
Yeah,
State.
yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Can't believe we're not picking that showdown. I kind of really did want to pick Minnesota here because I think that the receivers on UNC have their work cut out for them. I think this is going to be an ugly, low-scoring game, which isn't in the whole UNC fashion. I am picking UNC here, though. I don't have a good Minnesota accent, which is bad because my favorite TV show is Fargo, and
Josh
they're always doing Minnesota accents. I can't do it.
Josh has a great accent.
Let's hear it.
Well, I'll tell you what, bud. We're gonna go with them Golden Gophers there. Actually, you know what? I think I'll go with the Tar Heels. Yeah, we'll take the Tar Heels there. They got that Drake May. He's gonna be throwing the ball way down there. Yeah.
Very friendly.
You know what?
Josh, are you taking the points
after
with
the
it?
game there? I think me and the boys are gonna go out for a rip.
Josh, are you guys taking the points with a bag of milk?
I'm taking the Tar Heels.
It sounded Irish.
Yeah, I lost the accent at the end.
That sounded really Irish.
No, only because Tar Heels is that kind of.
So this might come back to burn me, but after watching North Carolina the last 2 weeks, especially against App State, give me the Golden Gophers there, bud.
I don't want to do an accent.
You don't have to.
You guys are all doing accents.
You don't have to.
I can't do an accent.
Connor can't do one.
I can't do an accent at all. I literally can't. Give me UNC.
You can't even do the frat boy accent?
All right.
Bro.
So we are at the $1 ticket game.
Bro.
The Battle of New Mexico. New Mexico State at New Mexico. New Mexico is a 1-point favorite on the Mountain West Network.
This is so confusing for me.
What's New Mexico State's record? What are they?
They're 2-1. I don't know why I didn't say
1 and 2.
Yeah, 1 and 2.
Liam, to explain, that was in honor of the UConn Vanderbilt game from a few years ago where both teams were like 0 and
you could go to that.
You could get a ticket for $1 at the Vanderbilt game. So this is always the worst game of the week.
I do vaguely remember that. Wow, this is quite the game to pick.
This is what do you call it? The Sickos Committee game of the
Sickos.
week.
It's basically the Sickos Super Bowl. When we were doing our Mountain West preview, talking about the bottom feeders of the conference, and I, for no reason, confidently said I actually like New Mexico to be better than people think and win a few more games than people expect and be better than the likes of Hawaii and Nevada. So I have a lot of stock in the Lobos, and they actually have some pretty decent players. Dylan Hopkins could actually let the ball fly. I really like their cornerback, Dante Martin, though. And I kind of just am not buying in on New Mexico State. And if you lose to UMass, that's like equal to picking on a Graham Mertz-led ball club in some sick and twisted way. Those things are equal value. And yet I'm picking Florida, but I am picking New Mexico here.
Give me the Lobos here. I'm going to take New Mexico to win this one.
I'm going to take New Mexico as well. I think they're going to prove that they are the real – well, not the real, but they're the best team in the state of New Mexico.
I think the New Mexico Military Institute.
Yeah, and you know what? I think New Mexico State might just move down to actual Mexico.
Wait, even better than New Mexico Tech?
Yeah.
Worse than.
Also, I think a Lobo.
And whatever the hell it's called.
I think a Lobo would beat an Aggie in a fight. It might be a little close, but
one has a gun, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So unless the Lobos got a bulletproof vest on, or who has a gun in his paw.
Isn't the Lobo? Isn't their logo like a wolf?
Yeah.
That's what it's like. I believe it's a Mexican wolf. Their mascot, Louis the Lobo, DMs me and he sends me stuff to post. And I'm like, yo, should I post it? Yeah, I'm like, he DM'd me something after the Texas A&M game. I was like, yo, I'll post this tomorrow. And he's like, wait, no, don't post this.
Why did you send it?
I don't know. He's just
dude. That's
happy,
awesome.
You know what?
Happy this is why the Lobos look.
We need to add Liam to the group chat because he gets sent some.
Oh my gosh,
that would be hilarious.
Liam's in tons. It sounds like he's in tons of group chats.
Just a few of the core ones.
Yeah. And Louis the Lobo made it.
And with how Ryan and Lucas get into arguments, I think he would not ever give his own opinions. Okay.
Oh, God.
All right, Connor, who are you taking?
New Mexico.
All right, finally, we are done with the pick'ems, and now the thing that everybody wants.
I swear,
we get out of
do
here.
this to me. Okay.
Say it quickly. I need to take a shit.
I'll do it. Okay. All right, guys. W Energy. W is they're a very, very good company. They're honest with us. They're honest with you guys. They've got powdered energy drinks. They're actually working on canned energy drinks now. Canned carbonated energy drinks. It's good stuff. Anyways, you can find their stuff at their website, w.gg. That's w.gg. I'm actually kind of jonesing for some of their stuff. I gotta order some more stuff. Anyways, W Energy. It's clean energy, sugar free. It's some of the best powdered energy I've ever had. Honestly, it is. Anyways, go to w.gg. You can look at all their products. You can order it online. They ship it straight to your house. Use code WEEK0 for 10% off your entire order there. That is w.gg. Use code WEEK0 at checkout. Let them know that we sent you, and they'll send us some more stuff.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right, Connor. Well,
all right,
Liam,
so,
I wanted to say this real quick, Liam. Thank you for topping in, man. For everyone that is watching we still got about 5 people watching, 6 people. Go over to No Context College Football on Twitter. Go give them a follow. They post funny stuff all day, every day that there's college football. Hilarious stuff.
It really is ridiculous how quickly he can get these clips up.
Yeah, exactly. It is.
Thank you.
So yeah, go over and go follow him. Also on his personal at Blutman27 on Twitter as well. Liam, pleasure having you, man. And like Connor said, we got to have you on later on in the season.
Yeah, where there's good games on, perhaps, and good teams playing. That'd be crazy.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
I don't have to pick like FIU, UConn.
No, Ryan
I will still do that.
We'll still do
just
that.
to be a dick, Ryan would still pick like a UConn FIU game just to throw a loop, just to throw us a loop. I guarantee it. He'll do that.
FCS
you know what?
stuff
You know
in
what? You
there.
know what he'll do? Liam will get off here, screenshot where I put up the pic of FIU at UConn, and then post it to the non-context college football. That's what he'll do.
Yeah.
That's funny.
Fantastic. No.
Okay, so this has been the Week 0 podcast. Thanks to everyone who's actually stuck around. We actually got up to like 12 concurrent people watching at one point, which is great to see for a small rare. We're at 203 subscribers now, slowly building up. We really appreciate Liam being here. We'll have you back sometime, man. Really appreciate you taking the time. For Liam, for Josh, for Ryan, for Connor, this is Week 0 podcast.